Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the Paladino Live Network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awijan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As here we are, the granddaddy of them all, the annual granddaddy of them all, State of the Timberwolves 2025. Then you ask yourself, do you feel a little older? Well, yeah, actually, because, man, I still remember the days of the 2010 State of the Timberwolves. Myself and Marcus the Forecaster, arguably the best episode of Timberwolves Explosion. You know, it's a Mount Rushmore episode. I mean, we had so much fun doing that one. That was, wasn't that around the time? Yeah, that was around the time where LeBron James was, announcing his decision. That was 15 years ago. 15 years ago. So just in case you're listening, Marcus the Forecaster, or anybody related to Marcus the Forecaster one way or another, that was 15 years ago. What the heck? That's absolutely nuts. That's like a ninth grader, isn't it? Born. I mean, a ninth grader born that year. A ninth grader was born that year. Yeah, somebody was already in ninth grade. Okay, to the point. Well, it was another fun, fairly successful season. In fact, I'd say it was pretty successful, generally speaking. The regular season record wasn't all that great, but a strong finish, and the Timberwolves get all the way to the Western Conference Finals again, and then run into what we hope and pray to God is not a wall, that it's going to be there for a long time. Because it was extremely frustrating back in the days of Kevin Garnett, Wally Szczerbiak, Terrell Brandon, and could have still been equally frustrating in the days of Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury. We may never know just how good that team could have become. Of course, we could go down about 15 rabbit holes about that, about how, things may have been handled or how things were handled at the time by all involved. So, who knows? One way or another, you had the Spurs and the Lakers to deal with, which is really annoying. Spurs and Lakers to deal with. They just both had to be there. And for years and 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 a long time, yes. And now, well, we hope and pray to God that the Timberwolves won't have to deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder for many years. Obviously, teams had to deal with the Golden State Warriors. It's been a decade kind of off and on of that nonsense. And the way that style of play has kind of taken over a lot of basketball, and it's, in my opinion, awful basketball. Awful. Just awful. I think it is. If you're just looking for a three-point shot, it's not. It's just, the charm is gone. The shine is gone from all that nonsense. Maybe like a year or two of, wow, that was really something. Okay, can we move on? Yeah, it's gone. The shine's gone. But anyhow, off of that nonstop three-point nonsense is what, yeah. Off of that nonsense, obviously there's going to be more threes nowadays than in the past, but just not as many as you hope that isn't like the main strategy of every game. But you hope it isn't going to be the Timberwolves, running into the Oklahoma City Thunder or maybe even the San Antonio Spurs year in and year out as we go forward, because, well, the Spurs have Wemby, but they also have Darren Fox, and you never know. There's always conversation as to where a guy by the name of Giannis is going to wind up. Where is he going to wind up? Who knows? Not looking forward to that at all. So, not at all. I'd like to see him stay in the Eastern Conference. If he goes to Detroit or something, well, that could be a pretty interesting team to watch. He's not going to go to the Thunder, even though they have, they have cap space at the moment, but they're going to have to pay their guys. Obviously they're going to have to pay some of the guys that haven't gotten their big contract yet, unless they want to let them go. But whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be an interesting offseason, and that'll be segment number 2. Segment number 1 will be recapping this up-and-down wild season that ended up with the Western Conference semi-gentleman sweep. It was a semi-gentleman sweep, or maybe a little bit of free throw merchant to go with it, with a side of free throw merchant. Yeah, it was really annoying, and it really was. It really was. The MVP free throw merchant, that guy, we all know who we're talking about there. That would be SGA, of course, if just in case you're brand new to basketball, I guess. Third segment is fan interaction, so that's kind of the idea, the past, the present / future, and of course the third segment is fan interaction, but there will always be the traditional segment 1.5 where we talk about the Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder NBA Finals. At the time I'm recording segment number 1, it is game 2, and things are going very Thunder-like. Game 1, things were going very Thunder-like as well, and the Pacers just kept chipping away, and then stuck the dagger right in their chest at the end, and it was a wonderful thing. I really enjoyed watching the Pacers win game 1, but that's as far as we are at the moment when we're talking about the NBA Finals. So, yes, these type of shows are pieced together, piece by piece, segment by segment. Oftentimes, the 4 different possible segments are recorded separately. We'll see. But segment 1.5 obviously is for the NBA Finals. That way we can keep this show generally focused on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And let's get to it now, the bow on the season. And of course, we will end this bigger segment. It's usually the largest segment of the group with your annual awards and demerits. The most valuable player, the biggest disappointment, and biggest surprise. Most valuable player, well, you can probably guess who that is, and it is a unanimous vote so far. At TWolvesEX, and of course we'll save, we'll look at the polls and we'll talk about them, but we'll talk about them again in segment number 3, as that'll be later on, as maybe the polls will have more time to finish up or get some more votes along the way. But of course we always end segment 1 with my choices and where the polls are at the moment. So we're going to backtrack again back into the month of October. I'll try not to babble too much. Timberwolves opened the season against their first round opponent, the Los Angeles Lakers, without Luka, a 110-103 loss. Wasn't that exciting after losing the entire preseason except the first game on the first 2 games, The Wolves did play the Los Angeles Lakers on October 4th. That's getting earlier and earlier and earlier. Before you know it, we'll have preseason games in September. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we will. And then a whole week later, I have no idea what the heck that's all about. The Wolves would beat the Philadelphia 76ers in the preseason. Then you had the Cat versus the Timberwolves for the first time in Madison Square Garden. You had all that drama, that nonsense going on in that one with Donnie DiVincenzo and Mr. Brunson, the senior Brunson there. That would be Rick Brunson, right? Rick Brunson was the dad. Jalen is the current player, of course, of the New York Knicks. So also, again, since it's kind of current / past conversation, Tom Thibodeau took the New York Knicks to the NBA, Eastern Conference Finals, not to the NBA Finals. I actually predicted it would be Wolves and Knicks in the Finals, and it wasn't that far off. It felt far off earlier in the year. Maybe the Knicks, not the Wolves, but probably not the Knicks either. Oklahoma City fans are almost as annoying as Warrior fans. I mean, they might be second in the league. They might actually have eclipsed the Denver Nuggets fan base, who are bleeping annoying as well. Anyhow, next, back to the Knicks. That's a fan base that, some of them might come off as arrogant and such, but it's different. I don't dislike New Yorkers. I have a New York personality. I've been told that before by several people, meaning I'm not kissing the home team's butt on a regular basis. I'm, in fact, much more critical and expecting more because I want to win a championship. I think it's okay to expect that. Not every year we're going to be the dynasty of basketball, but I think it's okay to expect a championship to happen. It's okay to expect it to happen at some point and to be pissed off when it doesn't. Yeah, it's okay. But the New York Knicks got to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. 25 years. And they were fairly competitive in the series. It didn't go all so great. Indiana Pacers were, very tough and all that. And, they definitely are a team that plays their butts off. There's no doubt. In so many ways, in a lot of ways, they're kind of like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very aggressive defensively and all of that. They play a great sound defensive game, but can also be quite clutch. So the Knicks had a hard time there. But then they fired Tom Thibodeau right at the end of the season. They fire him after the series. I mean, I get it. Thibodeau might be a bit crusty. I've been called that too. A little on the crusty side. Maybe doesn't have the sense of humor some other people might at times. Okay, it's really not funny. Just sit down and shut up, please. Sometimes I've been called, sometimes I might show that kind of behavior. Yeah, like seriously, it's not funny. Go away. Yeah, maybe that's Tom Thibodeau's personality a little bit. I don't think they should have fired him. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in New York. I don't think any of us really ever have known what the New York Knicks are doing. That's why it took them 25 stinking years to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's, I guess, my thoughts on that. Enough of the bleeping preseason. The Wolves lost to the Lakers at the beginning, then barely beat the Kings, barely beat Toronto. Well, we beat them by 11 points. We're happy. And then, of course, lose to Dallas again, which was real fun to wrap up the month of October. Kyrie Irving, again, sticking daggers like he does. He is one clutch mamma jamma. Luka Doncic was still a member of the Dallas Mavericks at the time. They hated Dallas Mavericks. Daniel Gafford, a lot of these guys were healthy. Kyrie Irving didn't have a torn, was it an ACL or Achilles? I think it was an ACL, right? Or was it an Achilles? I can't remember. Doggone it. It was one of the two major injuries. Which one was it? He's actually had several injuries throughout his career, but oh man, that's the one thing. Which injury was it? You know, I'm trying to remember because I know he's had it's an ACL this time. I think he had something major a while back, but it was at the ACL on March the 3rd. Okay. So guys like that, obviously like Gafford was off and on injured, guys like that, but they were all healthy at the time and they beat the Wolves. So I know I'm dragging this on and on and on, but it was a rematch of the West Finals, and frustration continued because Kyrie Irving stuck the daggers in, and boy were they sharp. They just went in very deep and painful and stuff. It was nasty. It was awful. Yes, it was. But Dallas would go on to miss the playoffs. These guys would get hurt. And the Mavericks management got sick and tired of Luka Doncic's ability to stay healthy, stay focused, and I don't know, maybe he's got kind of an attitude behind the scenes as well. That's the rumor. Maybe I'm just an ignorant jackass and I should shut my mouth, but I don't know. Maybe Luka's an ignorant jackass sometimes too. But yep, there's Luka against the Wolves. Not the Christmas Day edition, that would come later. But that was the Wolves' second loss of the season, so we ended the month of October with a 500 record. Kind of, again, up and down chemistry. The Wolves would beat Denver 119-116 at the beginning of November and then get beat by 10 by the Spurs. Okay, because I remember the Wolves had some weird games against San Antonio. Even when the Spurs were one of the worst teams in basketball, the Wolves would screw around with them. Now they have Chris Paul. There's a little more professionalism there. Wemby's clearly taken a step up. Not so much in this one. Again, 1 for 7 from downtown. Not quite 2 for 13 or anything like what happened later. Like, that's, did I mention that's becoming a little bit too much? 2 for 13, you don't think that's too much? Yeah, I think it is. Of course, this would be the final season of Popovich. He'll be more of a senior consultant role now with the Spurs after the stroke and all that, which is unfortunate. Legend of the game. Whether I like his politics or not, legend of the game in terms of Mr. Greg Popovich. Anyhow, but a 10-point loss here. This is, of course, pre-Darren Fox, way before Darren Fox would wind up there. The chemistry was kind of hit and miss throughout the season with, 1 minute Julius looks good, on 1 minute Dante looks good. Like this one, he was pretty good, and the Wolves still end up losing. So, stuff like that. The frustration would kind of bounce back and forth. There was some really wild stuff coming up. The Wolves would take care of Charlotte handily, which felt nice instead of getting beat by the Charlotte bleeping Hornets, which the Wolves did multiple times in some of those. What did we get swept by the Hornets 2 years ago when the Wolves had that frustrating in-between year? When we ended up getting gentlemanly swept by Denver at the end of the year. Wolves would beat Charlotte pretty good, crush the Bulls, crush the Portland Trail Blazers, and then have a 1-point loss to Miami on the 10th of November day. That was unfortunate. Wolves' points were reduced to only 94. So Wolves lose by a point to the frickin' Miami Heat. And, of course, the same situation. A certain guy, or did he play in the game? No, of course he didn't. But Kevin Love played only 13 minutes. And that's kind of Love. He doesn't play a lot. Josh Richardson, I'm not sure who he is anymore. Remember, wasn't he one of the most sought-after guys in the league, like via trade years ago? Now it's like, who is that again? Kind of weird. Thomas Bryant, a member of the Heat there before becoming an Indiana Pacer, just saw him shooting free throws a minute ago. No immediate relation to Mark Bryant. He looks like Mark Bryant, doesn't he? A little bit, but I guess not. Jimmy Butler the third was he didn't dress injury and illness. Yeah, he's just sick of being a Miami Heat, I guess. God, I don't know. Whatever. But anyhow, the Wolves would have a back-to-back in Portland and get their ass handed to them twice. Yeah, twice. It was wonderful, just great. The 12th and the 13th, just crushed. Absolute garbage. Naz Reid had a 28-point game. Anthony Edwards, 26. This one was just weird. Portland was all over the place. Shaden Sharp, not Shannon Sharp or anything. He didn't play tight end for the Denver Broncos or anything. He win a couple of Super Bowls. No, Shaden Sharp, nice player. I actually like him. He's pretty good. Simmons only managed 5 minutes in the game. This is Anthony, of course. He's actually a pretty good player, but not so much in this one. Unfortunately, banged up. Scoot Henderson would have a good game here. He'd have a couple of good games against the Wolves, be clutch with the shooting and such, but wasn't it the second game where he was a lot better. Shaden Sharp really looks like a guy the Wolves could use in the backcourt, at least for some depth. Maybe I'd rather have him than Dante. I think I would. Because Dante, not Culpepper DiVincenzo, was 1 for 10 from the floor. Frickin' awful. This is the second of the two games in the back-to-back, and Shaden Sharp was sharper than a frickin', I don't know, Klingon dagger, or whatever the heck it might be. 33 points. That's all. Just 33 points. Torture. Absolutely torture. Wolves couldn't stop him. Driving to the basket. He didn't even shoot well. Only 3 of 10 from downtown. But driving to the basket and all of that. And getting an and one or two along the way. Klingon, who's got connections to Australia, mate, was pretty awesome as well. Vince Germano reminded us he's a pretty good player, you know. He's pretty good. He's bloody good, mate. Bloody oath. He's pretty good. He's bloody good. He is good, and I'd take him here. Oh, yeah. Especially when they're talking about, as we'll foreshadow to segment 2, possibly saying goodbye to Rudy Gobert this summer. Believe me, I would love to have a less expensive, younger, athletic, shot-blocking type of guy in the middle. And Dave Klingon would definitely be on my short list. He had 8 blocks against the Wolves. 8 blocks. 8 blocks, 106.98. I called the whole episode was focused on that bloody series right there. Somehow I just knew it was going to be trouble. I just knew it, and boy, was it ever. It was trouble. Big trouble. The Wolves got swept in Portland, and that was the name of the episode right there at the time. The Wolves would then win against Sacramento. Congratulations, beat Phoenix by 3. Lose at Toronto, and that's when the chemistry took a turn for the worse. Everybody's like, oh boy. And Toronto was already an awful team, 4-12 at the time. Siakam was already gone to the Pacers last year. That's why the team got to the East Finals last season. The Pacers, one of the reasons, because Siakam's a hell of a player and he knows how to win at a very high level. So Toronto basically rebuilding here, and the Wolves' chemistry between Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert took a turn for the worse. And Anthony Edwards let his opinions known as well to Rudy Gobert for just kind of pouting and slowly walking off when he didn't get the ball in the paint because he was posted up one-on-one. Randle could have, had the inlet pass to Rudy Gobert. He had a perfect lane to him. Didn't give him the ball. Randle opted to go a different direction. And Rudy kind of pouted and very slowly came out of the paint, but deliberately created a 3-second violation. Anthony Edwards basically lit up Rudy Gobert. Why the bleep would you do that? What's wrong with you? Blankety blank, And I was thinking about the same thing. Like, what are you doing? Why would you bleep and do that? It was stupid. Like, why would you do that? Yeah, you could read the lips a bit. And then, of course, Julius Randle later on intentionally threw the ball very sharply low at Rudy Gobert's shin, basically. Like, yeah, here, catch it, yeah. Blankety blank, you French oaf, basically. Don't worry, it's in a movie. You big French oaf. Yes, it's in a movie where some lady calls the guy an oaf or whatever. Not Rudy Gobert, but another French guy. And that's pretty much what happened. And, of course, the ball went out of bounds. And, yeah, that was ugly. It was really ugly. The Wolves lost to the Toronto Raptors, a 4-12 team. That was the Raptors' 4th win of the season. Terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. You just can't lose to Toronto, man. The Wolves have had very poor success on Canadian soil, let's be fair. Even against the Vancouver Grizzlies when they existed wasn't good. Valiant effort versus Boston. The Wolves still come up short, just like they did a year ago in Boston, losing by only 2 points. But the losing streak was on, unfortunately, at this stage. And of course, once people start moving around, they continue to move around upstairs, and it's annoying. Anyhow, the Wolves also lose to the Houston Rockets and the Sacramento Kings, respectfully, as the week continued, and then finally get a tiny little 1-point win, 93-92 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers, who actually have a better record than the Wolves at that stage. 12-9. The Wolves were only 9-10 after that nasty 4-game, garbage. Kevin Porter Jr. of the Clippers would have 17 points. Good for him. James Harden only 20 points, which is low for him. Amir Coffey started the game and got 12. Good for him. None of the Wolves really stood out too much, but the bench was solid. Again, you got about almost 40 points off the bench. Well, 35-ish. Anthony Edwards only shot 33%. Conley actually had a semi-okay game, but not really. 13 points. Gobert only 7 shots. It was kind of a boring, sluggish type of a game, but the Wolves did survive it. And I guess we'll take it. I mean, 19 points in the third and 21 in the fourth, and the Wolves still hung on for dear life and won that basketball game. It ended a losing streak that was, just reeked of terrible, terrible chemistry. That was on Black Friday, of course. Sacramento was, as they call it, Drinksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve, which sounds better because, I don't know, there's more to life than drinking, in my opinion. Los Angeles Lakers, the Wolves would pound them into the ground, 109-80. That was a little surprising, but it felt good. I mean, the Wolves needed it in a big way. Later on, D'Angelo Russell, of course, back with the Lakers. The Wolves, again, in this case, players were, the ball was spread all over the place. Anthony Edwards shot like Dookie, and the Wolves still win comfortably. It was a weird, almost preseason-like game. As, I don't know, LeBron James was awful, 4 of 16. Anthony Davis was shockingly bad, which is never against the Wolves. 4 of 14. I mean, it's like, this never happens. Like, why was Anthony Davis terrible? So, I have no idea. The best player in the game, pretty much on both clubs, was the one that says that we need him really bad. That'd be D'Angelo Russell with his 8 for 12 and 4 of 5 from downtown, but came in a losing effort. And maybe future Laker, not kidding when I say this, Rudy Gobert, 7 of 8 and 12 rebounds as well to go with the 17 points. In early December, the Wolves would then beat the Clippers by 28 points. What the heck? The Wolves beat the Lakers by 29, beat the Clippers by 28, beat the Golden State Warriors in, well, where is it? San Francisco-ish, basically. I think it is San Francisco again. They beat the Golden State Warriors by 17 on the road. Unfortunately, that would be their last win against the Warriors until the postseason. The Warriors would dominate the Wolves pretty much the rest of the way. Or not dominate, but just win. They'd be better, basically. Much to my chagrin. That first game, Curry just looked like he was dead tired. Like, he was just kind of like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. It's not working out. Kind of with the head down thing. He was just burnt out or something. And but the rest of the way, it felt like Curry just kind of torched the Wolves. Much to my chagrin, because I've made my feelings known how I feel. And you're probably sick of hearing it. Wolves would get pounded by the Warriors multiple times in the next week. And that sucked. Yep. The Wolves would beat the Lakers again, though, by 10. In between there, and of course they had that stupid tournament that the Wolves never do anything in. For a minute there, you feel like the Wolves are going to do something, and they don't. LeBron did not play in this game. Anthony Davis was okay. About, he did have a solid Garnett actually like numbers, except for the 5 assists. That didn't happen. Possible future Timberwolf Austin Reeves with 18 points and 6 assists in Le Performance. Again, it's possible. I'm not just saying that out of my big mouth here. You had a 4-day break, a 3-day break. The Wolves would beat the Spurs comfortably, 106-92. That felt pretty good. Let's just keep going, and we don't need to look at everything here. But again, it is kind of fun to rehash the season. This is where you put the bow on the year. Wolves would host the New York Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns' first game, coming back as a non-Timberwolf, but still wearing the number 32. Didn't have to change his number, and the Wolves got smoked. And Karl Anthony Towns, as fitting as possible, would score 32 points. Yeah, Like, you missed number 32 now, don't you? Here's 32 right on you. 12 field goal attempts for 32 points. That is the best Palladino-Joey ratio I've ever seen, pretty much. Matt Ryan, the former Los Angeles Laker and Atlanta Falcon. Okay, I mean, he didn't play for the Falcons, but he might as well have. 4 points for the Knicks. But anyhow, Karl Anthony Towns would have a 30, 20, and 6 type of game. Yeah, he did. Jalen Brunson shot like Dookie, 5 of 14, but it didn't matter because Bridges also was, he's crossing the bridge. We didn't have to wait to cross the bridge in this one. He crossed it. Oh man, he was a plus 35. The Wolves get absolutely walloped. Rudy Gobert with this is playoff Rudy right here. You don't want to know why this is playoff Rudy? Minus 37. Minus 37. This is the defensive player of the year, you know that, right? Minus 37, 3 points, 1 basket, 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Epic stuff. Awesome. Just awesome. Julius Randle would lead the Wolves in the game. Made half of his threes. That's good. Playing against his former team, everyone else out there pretty much, including Anthony Edwards, looked like, I don't know. Well, Dante was good. It's funny, the 2 former Knicks played well. Like, this is for trading us, blank, blank, blank. Oh, and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, 5 of 5. I might want to include that too. But the Wolves, otherwise, 133 to 107, just utter devastation. And everyone was whining and bitching about what a dumbass trade that was. Well, whatever. I guess. Luckily, things would get a little better, at least regarding that trade. Not with the Wolves' success at the time. The Wolves would lose by 10 to the Golden State Warriors, of course, like I was saying. I kind of jumped ahead a bit, but that was our second loss to the Warriors. We'd fall behind 2-1 in that series. The Wolves would then lose at Atlanta, which actually happens way more often than people understand. It happens way, way more often than people understand. Hawks kind of with a reverse-looking jersey at the time. Had that classic Hawks look from the Dominique era with the font and the style, but then it was kind of a blue color, though. So it was kind of like a reverse retro look. It was kind of weird, but it's kind of cool, too. It's kind of something the NHL does sometimes, reverse retro. Well, Atlanta did it, too, apparently. The Hawks kicked our butts for the most part. What was it, a 10-point game? No, 13. And a lot of players, but Karras and Matthews, I mean, I don't know, is he a backup quarterback in the NFL? I mean, Karras and Matthews? Okay, sure. 25 points, he was 7 of 8. My lord. 7 of 8 for 25 freaking points because he was scorching the bottom of the net. That's why. Yes, he was. Trae Young, 29. And the Hawks crushed the Timberwolves. Possible future Timberwolves, Clint Capella. Didn't play all too great in this one, but I'll take Clint Capella with a cheaper price. We got to keep going. It's just a frustrating loss. Wolves would beat the Dallas Mavericks on Christmas Day. The Wolves would have a massive lead, if I remember correctly. Luka Doncic came out lame and would never play for the Dallas Mavericks again. Ever. Came up lame with the hamstring around second quarter or so. Was actually playing pretty well. 14 points and 5 of 9. Wolves would build a massive lead, and then Kyrie Irving pulled out that dagger. It was nice and sharp. It was dripping with Timberwolves blood. And he just kept hacking away and hacking away and hacking away at the Timberwolves, chopping them up as much as possible. But the Wolves would survive because Kyrie Irving didn't shoot all particularly well from downtown. He did miss a lot of shots, but he still was super clutch when he needed to be. Some corner threes and such. Clang Thompson hit a bunch of. Well, he had all 4 of his threes in the fourth quarter. Mavericks, mounted a huge comeback, but the Wolves would hang on and survive. I was at Theodore Wirth Park on a freezing cold day, watching the Timberwolves on mobile, and in the car, trying not to curse my head off as that lead was evaporating, as Irving and Clang Thompson wasn't clanging. They were actually going in, much to my chagrin. But the Wolves would survive, barely. And Luka Doncic would never play for the Mavericks again. He would be a Los Angeles Laker. And because he was coming back from injury right around that time. The Wolves would also mount a 3-game win streak because of that Christmas Day win in Dallas, Texas, beating the Rockets by a point and the Spurs by 2 points, and then lose to OKC, our future point of no return apparently, in Oklahoma City, 113 to 105 on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve as usual. The Wolves, yeah, and then the Wild. Didn't we? I forget what happened. Yeah, I think we beat the Wild beat the. I just did the first segment for State of the Wild 2025. We beat the Nashville Predators, yeah, but then later on we got killed by them. Wolves would then lose by 3 to Boston, lose by 4 to Detroit at Detroit. Detroit clearly a better team than a lot of us thought, but that game was really frustrating. It was on January the 4th. It was a mess. I mean, the Wolves gave up 41 points in the third quarter. The Wolves played well, 38, but 41 to Detroit is pretty rough. Anthony Edwards would score 53 points in the game. Cade Cunningham would score 40 for the Detroit Pistons, despite a 53-point effort by Anthony Edwards. 10 of 15 from downtown, 16 of 31 overall, 11 of 12 at the free throw line. An awesome game. I mean, there's nothing short of it. But the Wolves still find a way to lose this one, 119 to 105. Anthony Edwards, great numbers, but a lot of other guys didn't play well. 2 of 8 from Nikhil, 2 of 7 from Naz Reid. Jeez, man. 0 for 4 from Mike Conley, Methuselah himself. And the Wolves just played lousy defense and got smoked. Then you'd have a 3-game win streak, 2 points over the Clippers, 104-97 over a depleted Pelicans club, 104-89 over the Magic on the road. Pretty impressive win, actually. Very impressive. That was actually really good. So another little 3-game win streak there. That was a surprisingly good one because Orlando has definitely been a thorn in the Wolves' side historically. Pretty much, the only time we were good against Orlando, it felt like, was when they had Shaq. Isn't that weird? Yeah, the Wolves actually play well against Shaq. Not all the time, but, excuse me, some of the times. I mean, sometimes Shaq rubbed it in our face pretty bad, but then again, most of that was when he was on the Lakers, though. Where he'd shimmy all over us. Son of a gun. Wolves would have another frustrating as bleep. Close loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. I was going absolutely nuts. Frickin' John Morant with his 18 seconds remaining shot, and the Wolves would fail, of course, with our attempt to tie or win the game. Donnie DiVincenzo was 27 in a starting effort. Anthony Edwards shot like S-bomb. Over 5 from downtown, 4 of 13 overall, and only 15 points. I mean, if he played even slightly better, the Wolves probably win that game. Gosh, dang it. Anyway, Jaden McDaniels, wasted great game, 9 of 12. Pissed a lot of people off. That was a frustrating one. This was on January the 11th. We continue into that new year. Comfortable win over Washington, and another extremely frustrating 1-point loss to the Golden State bleeping Warriors. Of course, Curry, another 31-point night. He had a couple of them against the Wolves, and he was, not that special, but he hit the shots when he needed to. Dante, very good against his former club, 28 there, and 28 for Anthony Edwards as well. In a series that probably would have been pretty good. A lot of people do believe with the way the Wolves were playing that they still would have beaten the Warriors even with Curry. Who knows? Obviously, Curry would have helped the Warriors' cause. I can hate on Curry all I want, but obviously the Warriors would. It would be tough. The Wolves would then go into New York and win convincingly, so it made us all feel a little bit better after getting smoked in Target Center earlier in the season. 36 points by Anthony Edwards, so a lot of us felt better, but no Karl Anthony Towns, so that figures. Jericho Sims, who started at center, played almost 19 minutes and didn't score a point, but he got 5 rebounds. Yay! That's for the Knicks, of course. You always get a kick out of the name OG Anunoby, like he's the OG. Well, he had 18 points anyway, so if he's the OG, so be it. But the Wolves would OG the Knicks pretty good. Sorry. Losing to the Cavs by 7 on the 18th of January. That's a bummer. Wolves had multiple chances in that game, and it just didn't work out. Wolves would lose another spine-tingling, bleeping frustrating game. Another 2-point loss to the stupid frickin' Memphis Grizzlies on Martin Luther King Day, and on Inauguration Day. Yes, sir. Naz Reid would perform fantastic. Anthony Edwards, even with 32, strong performance by both of these guys. But then, then there's always a couple other players that just play bloody awful. And I mean bloody awful. 1 of 6 for Conley, 2 of 10 for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 2 of 13 for Julius Randle. Thank you very much. He did get 7 assists and 11 rebounds, so he did other things. And 1 of 5 from Rudy Gobert. So a little help from some of those other guys. The Wolves win the game. But it just didn't happen. So frustrating. Oh, it just was so frustrating. Oh, it could just make a person sick and angry and bleeping pissed off all at once. It just mind-numbing. Along the way, Jalen Clark would get some minutes. Yeah, so this is an important factor. The month of January was when he would get a couple of garbage time minutes, and then he'd finally start to get a little bit going. We're still in January right now. This is about when he got started. It was against Orlando, and January the 13th, the win in Washington. He played just a couple seconds. Wolves would smoke Denver. He'd still get only 4 minutes there. It was Phoenix when he finally got a couple of meaningful minutes on the 29th and such, and eventually Jalen Clark would get some significant minutes in the month of February. And into March, the minutes would diminish a bit, but kind of back and forth, kind of like 15, 10, 18 minutes, where at some points he'd have 20 to 25 minutes. And then as we headed into April, it was back down to single digits, and then here come the playoffs, and Jalen who again? Oh, you know, what's his name over there? Yeah, we'll get to him next year, I guess. That's dumb. So that's kind of what happened to Jalen Clark, but definitely a nice piece and definitely something. Rob Dillingham would have a nice 15-point effort as well, 6 of 8, going up against John Morant at times in this one. But the Wolves, John Morant shot terribly, 5 of 16, but it just didn't work out because Desmond Bane continues to be a pain in the butt to the Timberwolves, as does Jaren Jackson. And the Wolves end up losing to the hated Memphis Grizzlies by 2 points again. 115-114 win over Dallas on the 22nd of January. 133-104, an epic type of a feature presentation type of night. 133-104 over Denver. That felt like $1 million. It's like, okay, we're gonna hopefully start to pull away from this 2-3 games above 500 nonsense. The Wolves would keep trying to do it, but would keep failing. You just wish it could happen. Anthony Edwards at 34 in that one, but man, that made you feel good seeing the Wolves walk all over a Denver Nuggets team like that. 100-92 against Atlanta, 121-113 over Phoenix on the road on the 29th, and then 138-113 win over Utah. So the Wolves starting to pull away a bit. 27-21. That's a heck of a lot better than 22-21, which is what the Wolves were pretty much when things started. So, awesome. This felt really good. Looks like the Wolves were finally starting to pull away a little bit. Dillingham, 8 of 11. Oh, wasn't that exciting? Jalen Clark getting 17 minutes, 6 points, and doing a lot of those little things that don't always show up. Loved it. Seeing a lot of these guys getting some minutes out there. But Dillingham, 23 minutes and 19 points. Awesome. And Nickeil against his former club as well with 15 as a starter, with injury to Conley or whatever. So injury and rest and all that. That was the end of the month of January. The Wolves would then have a very frustrating loss to the Washington Wizards in Target Center. See, it's stuff like this. The Wizards won their 7th game of the season. 7th game of the season. Wizards, because they were on a historic 16-game losing streak at the time. Historic for them anyway. Kuzma would have 31. He'd scorch the Wolves and piss us all off. I remember that oh so well. Conley would have some moments, but man, what a frustrating freaking loss. And Joe Ingles would play significant minutes as well. 4 of 6. 10 points for Joe Ingles, mate. But a loss. It was a bloody loss, mate. Wolves would also lose to Sacramento, and here we go again when we think the Wolves are pulling away from 500. And then you lose to Sacramento and Washington, both by 2 points. And then 127-108 win over the Bulls. The Wolves would have another 3-game win streak. The Bulls, the Rockets, and a 13-point win over the Rockets, 127-114, and then beat Portland, finally getting revenge on that stupid sweep earlier in the year, 114-98. The Cleveland Cavaliers had crushed the Wolves and end the winning streak pretty handily. Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell would kick the Wolves' butts, basically, unfortunately, in that one, despite Anthony Edwards putting up a 44-point effort, but it was Cleveland clearly the better team in that one. Much to our chagrin, Wolves would lose an extremely frustrating game to the Milwaukee Bucks. Nobody understood this one. Nobody. I mean, nobody. No Ante or whatever his name is. No Greek freak. No Giannis, whatever his name is. Brooke Lopez at start. Torian frickin' Prince with 36 minutes. Kyle stinking Kuzma again. Get out of here, Kyle. You just beat us with the frickin' Wizards. You bastard. 19 points and 13 rebounds. Kyle Kuzma, go away, dude. 21 points for Gary Trent Jr. Yep, of course, the son of Gary Trent Sr., who used to be Timberwolves. Yeah, that guy who plays a totally different game than his father, of course. More of a sharp shooting guard kind of guy. And the Wolves would lose, though, with all these big names out. Damian Lillard out. Giannis out. And other players as well. But those two especially being out. Just almost no excuse. You got to beat these guys. And the Wolves lose by 2 points in Target Center to the Milwaukee Bucks. And a lot of us were saying a word that rhymes with Buck, but it starts with an F. Because that was a really frustrating frickin' loss. The Wolves would then win by 15. This is what kind of season this was. And that's why it's like, how could this team possibly go on a playoff run when you win 2 or 3 games and then you lose 2 or 3 games and then you win 3 games, you lose 2. It's just, then you win 5 and then you lose 4 and then you win 3 and you lose 4. It's like, what's going on here, guys? You just never understood it. The team didn't make any sense. But a 15-point win over OKC, this was one of the highlights of the whole damn season. Naz Reid, that guy, started at center with 27 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. Epic. 11 of 18. Epic. Absolutely epic. He was awesome. Terrence Shannon Jr., remember him? Never heard of him? Almost 29 minutes, 13 points. Awesome. Great to see him out there. Kicking some butt. Free throw merchant managed to get 11 free throws and made all of them. Bastard. But, yep. So, there was that. Yep. Obviously, this is a long review. I'm probably dragging this way too long. I apologize. So, see if we could speed things up. We went to All-Star break. The Wolves would then lose to Houston. It was an absolutely terrible end of the month of March, except beating OKC again. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? No, it really doesn't. It doesn't make any sense at all. Wolves lose by 6 to the Rockets, lose by 7 to OKC, and then the next night in Oklahoma City, not in Target Center, in Oklahoma City, the Wolves would win by 3 over OKC. It was a home-and-home type of deal. And then the Wolves would lose to Los Angeles in LA by 1, with Luka and all them. This was the game where the Wolves lost to the Lakers. And then Utah. The Wolves find a way to lose that one, 117-116, the second or first most frustrating loss of the year comparing with the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, John Collins is a decent player, but 29 points for John Collins. 29, no Lauri Markkanen, no Jordan Clarkson. I mean, really? John Collins with 29 points. Oh my God. Oh, what are we doing? So again, this is why it's like, how the bleep could this team possibly go on a playoff run? How? So that was the end of February, not March. In March, the Wolves would be borderline spectacular. Yeah. I mean, this is what, it's just, you don't understand it. Like, you lose to the bleeping Jazz on the 28th of February, and then March. Holy smokes, there's a lot of green. The Wolves would win 8 consecutive games, lose 2 consecutive, and then kind of go back and forth as we head into the month of April. But Phoenix 116-98, Philadelphia 126-112, Charlotte 125-111. Now again, these are not very tough games. Miami again with no Jimmy Butthead, 106-104. What the hell? Wolves had also crushed the Spurs team 141-124. I do believe Wemby was already out with the blood clots in the shoulder type of thing. You got to get him out of there. Could be life-threatening, and it's not a joke. Darren Fox with 22, shot super well. Stephen Castle, who I like a lot. I like that guy. I'd love him on the Wolves. If you can get him at a decent price. 20 points. 20 points. Yes, I'm a fan of Castle. I am. Oh, yes. 115-95 win over the Denver Nuggets. 111 win over the Orlando Magic. 128-102 win over the Utah Jazz. Absolutely nuts. And then, of course, a heartbreaking loss to Indiana Pacers, who were a little tough. The NBA Finals that just never was. Wolves would lose an OT in that one. frustrating. The Wolves would not have a spectacular last-second block by Anthony Edwards. It was kind of like the opposite. Obi Toppin would hit everything. It was stupid, frustrating. 12 to 19, and then 7 of 10 from downtown. Obi bleeping Toppin with 34. Who the heck is Obi Toppin? No, he's a good player, but come on. 119-115, the Wolves would beat the New Orleans Pelicans. No, would lose to the New Orleans Pelicans. An extremely frustrating loss that nobody understood. It just was like, what the hell? And then turn around and crush them 134 to 93. Sure, no problem. That was kind of funny. Yeah, wow. Wow. And of course, nobody was playing in that one. Wolves would also lose to the Pacers again, and Obi Toppin would kill us again. Obi bleeping Toppin. Get out of here, dude. That was so annoying. Shot 7 of 10, 6 of 9 from downtown. And of course, Halliburton, pretty good. Obviously, he shoots funny, but he makes his shots. And the Wolves would get swept by the Pacers. So who knows what the NBA Finals could have been. Comfortable win over the Nuggets, or excuse me, the Suns and the Detroit Pistons, which is fairly surprising in a good way. And then April, a lot more green again. Beat the Nuggets by a single point in a crazy back and forth game. What's his name was hitting shot after shot. That Aaron Gordon, 30 points. Nikola Jokic, 61 points. And somehow the Wolves survived this thing and win it, which was a huge shocker. Russell Westbrook, definitely a mess out there, kind of crazy, making dumb mistakes, and the Wolves would end up surviving in spectacular fashion, and we'd feel like $1 million after that one. Oh, man. Anthony Edwards with 34 to lead the way. This was, again, one of the most epic, crazy back-and-forth games of all time. Aaron Gordon hitting huge clutch shots, but the Wolves would survive. Then we beat Brooklyn, Philadelphia, another stupid loss to Milwaukee. Memphis finally beat those bastards, 141 to 125. Wrapped the season up against Brooklyn and Utah to enter the playoffs with 49 wins. Now, of course, the Wolves coming out against LA, everybody thought the Wolves were not going to win this series, all the star power, at least the two main stars. But then it's like, wait a minute, the Wolves are deeper and much larger as well. So, whatever. The Wolves then beat the Lakers pretty soundly in Los Angeles, much to Vince Germano's chagrin, I'm sure. But then they'd come back and beat us, much to our chagrin. Only 85 points. What the heck happened there, guys? It's like we couldn't make a stinking shot in that game. And the rest of the way, the Wolves had survived despite a couple of crazy back-and-forth games, especially Game 4. That was the big one. Was that the LeBron game? Or was the first one the playoff LeBron game? 27 in that one. Doncic with 38. Really big performance in Game 4. But the Wolves had survived that. Was it Game 3 that was the LeBron game? Yeah. 38 points. He was incredible. Playoff LeBron. And then you saw that puppy dog face that LeBron makes when it's a kind of a devastating loss, like when they would lose to the Warriors despite a great performance by LeBron and the Cavaliers back in 2015. That devastated puppy dog face. You saw it on LeBron James. I'm like, wow, I didn't think I'd see LeBron James ever make that face against the Wolves in a playoff series. Never thought that day would come, but it did. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I think we're going to win this series. And the Wolves did. Didn't lose another game, despite, again, Game 4 was extremely stressful and scary. And even Game 5 a little bit. But the Wolves had survived at 103-96 and advanced to the second round against the Warriors. And then Wolves only managed 88 points in the first game. Devastating and frustrating. But then Curry would come up lame with the hammy. Wolves still couldn't frickin' hit a shot. Ended up losing this one, which was like, oh my God, this is BS. But Curry's out. Is he going to be out the whole series? Well, long enough for the Wolves to win the next 4, which the Wolves did, which felt so good despite some extremely stressful moments at times. Game 2, the Wolves crushed the Warriors, but Games 3 and 4 and even 5 at times were insanely scary and stressful. But nothing could compare to the frustration and anger and disappointment that the Wolves would face against the Oklahoma City Thunder and the free throw merchant himself and the MVP of the league as well, including this guy named Jay Will, who's up on the screen right now. Yeah, that. Well, it didn't work out. The first 2 games, the Wolves had some moments, and then the Thunder just, at the end of right at the end of the first half, the Thunder started making a little surge, and then the rest of the game was pretty much like adios and bye-bye. It was so frustrating. Wolves ended up losing both games in similar fashion in OKC to fall down 0-2. It's okay though. We still have home games. You know, we still have 3 home games. We could bring this back to OKC and see what happens. Well, game number 3, you felt that might happen. The Wolves win by 42 points. Yeah, 42. It was the biggest margin of victory all year, and it was against the same Thunder. And it's not like 5 guys were injured either. We just kicked their ass. It was fun. And then game 4 was, everybody was scoring for OKC. They weren't missing anything. The Wolves played a good game, but just not good enough, and then couldn't execute down the stretch. Guys were hitting shots for that OKC team. They were just scorching and scorching. It's like, this one's definitely not going to be a blowout. This is going to be a gut-wrenching, back-and-forth, stressful series. And it was. And ultimately, despite great performances by guys off the bench, great performances, even Shannon with 9 points. Great game in just 7 minutes. But, Anthony Edwards only 5 of 13. Julius Randle 1 of 7. That's why the Wolves lost. Because the big guys did nothing. Nothing. Julius Randle pretty much disappeared in the series. And we had all of us pretty upset. Game 5 felt like last year's Game 5. It was one-sided from the get-go. And that was all she wrote. I have no further comment. 124 to 94. That's all you need to know. Just lifeless. Garbage. Felt a lot like last year. Game 4, in a lot of ways, was kind of like Game 2 against the Dallas Mavericks last year, where you just felt, we're probably not going to win, are we? And in a lot of ways, it was the absolute bleeping dagger. Not only were the Wolves not going to win, they were down 3-1 already. Versus Dallas, you were down 0-2 and having to go on the road, which also felt pretty defeated at the end of the day. Devastating 3-point shot by Luka at the time, and it was really devastating. So, kind of similarities here. That Dallas team didn't look like a championship team. They looked like a contender, but not a champion. Unfortunately, OKC probably is a championship contender. Well, of course. But, the fear is with the Thunder that they could be up there for many years to come because of what the Clippers did just to get Paul bleeping George. And a lot of good Paul George is doing the Los Angeles Clippers today. A lot of good. Just great. So, obviously, it was a fun season for the most part, but a terrible finish. An unlikely playoff run at the time, but then the way the Wolves played down the stretch in March and April, you felt, yes, this team is really good. Like, they're gelling. Now we can see what these guys can do. But at the end of the day, the frustration, the anger, and the feeling of deja vu from last season kind of took over things against OKC. And that's kind of what we went through. So let's pass out the awards and demerits now that we can put a bow on the bleeping season. At TWolvesDX. MVP, Anthony Edwards. Yep, and it's 100%. It's unanimous as I put the poll out. So no real further comment there. Anthony Edwards is the MVP. The candidates were Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid. The other 3 guys did not get a single vote. Next, who is your Minnesota Timberwolves biggest disappointment for 24-25? Feel free to comment, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, nobody commented on any of these, but maybe they will between now and the end of the show. The 4 candidates are Donnie DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, Rudy Gobert, and Josh Minott. And Josh Minott absolutely deserves to be there because a lot of us thought he was taking the next step to be a rotation player, and he didn't. And my complaints about Josh Minott and why he absolutely deserves to be there. He looks like he's 19. He looks like he's still 19. His body looks like he's 19, and his game looks like he's 19. His shot looks like he's 19. He looks like a rookie, what's his name? Remember how what's his name looked as a rookie? Zach LaVine. A few years later, yeah, he kind of transformed. He still looked skinny, but his whole game was different. And I'm not even a huge Zach LaVine fan, but, you can't deny he's got talent. Josh Minott still looks like he's 19, and he's not 19. So what's the deal? What's going on, Josh? So he's just not making progress, and that's where I'm irritated. Donnie DiVincenzo with a commanding lead, 55.6%. Rob Dillingham has nothing, whereas Rudy and Josh Minott are tied at 22.2. So we'll see how that wraps up in the fan when we get to fan interaction later. Who's the biggest surprise? The 4 candidates: Jaden McDaniels, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Jalen Clark. Other is the last choice, and no comment in there yet, but people feel free to comment in the other if you want. That's what I wrote, basically. Terrence Shannon Jr., 55.6%. Jaden McDaniels coming in second at 33.3%. Jalen Clark coming in at 11.1%. at third. So anyhow, the biggest disappointment, I agree with both choices here. Donnie DiVincenzo is the biggest disappointment. I think we could have gotten a hell of a lot more. Rob Dillingham is there for a reason, even though maybe he doesn't deserve it as much. But Josh Minot is not my biggest disappointment. It was Donnie DiVincenzo, and I agree with the voters. Same with Terrence Shannon Jr. Nice surprise. And when you saw it, it was pretty exciting. Clearly, that's a real player there. So, very exciting. We're going to wrap up this segment now. It's been a long one because there was a lot to talk about. There was a very epic back-and-forth season, and, it was a fun team to keep up with for the most part, despite insane frustrations at times. But, that's part of the conversation and why the conversation was so long, with all of that said. So, thank you again so much for this first segment, I guess. What am I? I'm like wrapping up the show. No, this is the end of the first segment. And I just, it was a fun season, and hopefully the Timberwolves can build towards that next level. Can it be done? Let's hope so. Let's talk about it in segment number 2 next. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosions, the famous segment 1.5 that I invented several years ago now. And I also incorporated that into Brave the Wild, segment 1.5, where we talk about the finals, because it's not Wolves related. It'd be nice if segment 1.5 was Wolves related, and I would still keep it segment 1.5 just for fun, because if the Wolves actually got there, because how many times are the Wolves going to get to the NBA Finals? I don't know. The series has, of course, gone to 7 games, if you've been living in a cave. And, I'm starting to record this segment 1.5 now, with the Thunder up by 12 with 1:41 remaining. So, more than likely, that's about all she wrote. Unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton having an Achilles tendon, most likely an Achilles tear, very early in Game 7. Pacers fought valiantly. The third quarter went completely down the toilet, unfortunately. And the fourth, they've been making a little comeback for a while, but I don't know if there's enough time and enough really talent on the overall roster. It's been nice, and it's a dang shame. I would much rather see the Pacers win this final. But, we're going to go over the series a bit without hopefully prolonging it too much. Game 1 was an epic back-and-forth battle. Shea had a 38-point performance, obviously very strong. Pascal Siakam, one of the few guys that does have a ring in this series with the Toronto Raptors, did a great job. Kevin Durant had an Achilles tear during the course of that series, where he entered the series with a calf injury and eventually was able to finally play again and had an Achilles tear on the same calf. Kind of similar with Tyrese Halliburton throughout the course of this one, kind of like clearly some kind of calf seriousness going on. Unfortunately, as the series progressed and into the series, it's just a damn shame, because Halliburton probably won't even play next year now. So, it's, June 22nd. So, as I'm wrapping up this show, I often record segment 1.5 last, because that's all the other kind of stuff to go about. But I'm going to leave fan interaction to be last. There's not all that much there. But, of course, still conversations from all of you. The Kevin Durant trade finally happened today as well. So, I guess it's appropriate. All that closure will be on this episode and all of that. So, I'll continue that into segment 3. So unfortunately I do babble on and on about Kevin Durant a bit in segment number 2. I apologize for that, but not too long, and I was kind of basically guessing he wasn't coming here anyway, but I still went on and on about him for a bit. Minute remaining, Thunder lead by 13. That's pretty much it. It is. And I'm not happy. I'm not. Obi Toppin, respectful performance. TJ McConnell was respectful in this final game here because he pretty much had to be the main guy with Tyrese out. But Game 1 was a nice, impressive victory for the Indiana Pacers, and that gave us an early indicator that this was going to be one hell of a battle for the Thunder if they're going to win this title. That it wasn't going to be some 5-game, gentleman's sweep or anything like that, and it certainly wasn't. Halliburton didn't even play all that great, but he did get 10 rebounds in the game. SGA with 38. Game 2 was kind of a reality type of thing. It was kind of like, say, how the North Stars beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in Game 1 in the Stanley Cup Finals, when they still called it Finals, back in 91. And then Game 2 was kind of a reality check. And it really was. The Thunder win comfortably in that one, 123-107. Not a good day at all. Just not. What was that? Sunday, June 8th. 2 whole bleeping weeks ago. It's hard to believe how quickly this month has just flown by. Benedict Mathurin, I barely even knew who he was before entering in this series. Respectful throughout this series, and good for him. Overall, Tyrese Halliburton, 7-13 in that game. This is the Game 2 performance. SGA with another 34-point game, well, 30-plus point game type of thing. Chet Holmgren, solid 6 of 11. You know, they don't rely on his offense that much, but when needed, he'll go out and get it done. Thunder basically running the clock down here in Game 7, so it just kind of is what it is. I don't like the Thunder. I've made that clear. I don't hate them, but I don't like them. I just don't. SGA, again, strong performance, getting the steals and such, and just kind of reality setting in. Don't have a whole lot to say about Game 2. And we don't need to necessarily do this game review. We just kind of have just thoughts on the series. Game 3, the Pacers the Pacers gave us all hope here in Game 3. An extremely strong performance. Second quarter, 40-28. That was awesome. Oklahoma made it strong, and then the fourth, very strong finish by the Pacers, 32-18, and they win the game by 9 points in their house. It's like, oh my God, they may actually have a real shot at this thing. This is really cool. Chet Holmgren starting at center, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Did not get 5 assists, an old Garnett type game. Shea Alexander reduced to 20 points, whereas Benedict Martin with 27 to lead the way. I keep calling him Martin Mathurin with a 27-point performance. Actually an awesome game. Played his ass off in this series. I think he deserves so much credit. Halliburton with 22 points and 11 assists. 4 turnovers, though, unfortunately. But an awesome night for the Indiana Pacers. Got their fans, gave us all kind of hope that maybe something cool might happen here. Game 4 was the game where it looked like the Pacers just might take a 3-game-to-1 lead, and it really felt like they were going to. And then it all just kind of unraveled down the stretch. And this was the game that probably cost the Pacers the series. In fact, I think it is. 31-17, Oklahoma City kind of pulling away and capitalizing on Indiana mistakes, which is kind of what happened here in the third quarter earlier, where it was like, I don't know, like the turnover battle absolutely dominant in game number 7, but particularly in the second half, just absolutely dominant. Thunder already know that as the clock has not expired yet, but they already know what their destiny is here. Good for them. God bless them. Shea Alexander, 35 in Game 4, was absolutely clutch. Jalen Williams, big, of course, 27. In this one, missed all 3 of his three-pointers, but made all 11 of his free throws. Shea Alexander made all 10 of his free throws. Chet Holmgren made all 6 of his. It's utterly ridiculous. 26 for 26 for those guys at the free throw line. The free throw merchants themselves were absolutely free throw merchants in this particular game, and they shot as a team, the Thunder shot 89%. Indiana just kind of blowing it, missing free throws also, only 75%, and only 30% from downtown in the game. The Thunder only shot 18%, though, and again, more and more reason to believe that the Pacers could have won this game, but they ultimately did not. Unfortunately, they just kind of made mistakes down the stretch, and it cost them. Clock is running down, and your world champions are the Oklahoma City Thunder, the city of Oklahoma City, winning its first championship in any sport, and it's the only team they have, so whatever. Shea is shaking hands and happy and all that, and confetti's coming down. It isn't all that much. The human toothpick, Chet Holmgren, remained healthy throughout the series, and congratulations to the Minneapolis native there. Yeah, well, Oklahoma City. Obviously, one of these two cities had to get their first championship of any kind. The Pacers have won several ABA titles, but that was way back in the 1970s, and it was in the ABA. Minnesota even had 2 ABA teams, one a year basically. Like 1 year with one, 2, I think 2 years with the Pipers. But unfortunately, that was all, at the end of the day, for naught. Pacer players, emotional, sad, and I'm sorry, I truly am. And Pacer fans, I can't even imagine being that close and watching your star go down with an Achilles tear. It's awful. Awful foot feeling. Pacers were really good the last 2 years, and I really like I really like Rick Carlisle. I think he's an awesome coach. I really do. So, I don't know. I feel bad for the Pacers at the end of the day. Game 4 was kind of like, it felt like OKC versus the Wolves. Game 5, excuse me, felt like that. Maybe not quite as ugly, but it was not a good day for the Indiana Pacers. A 120-89 victory for the OKC Thunder at the end of the day. But Game 5, yep, just, obviously, like I was saying, just not a good day. Sorry, distraction with kind of background noise. And I don't know, there's always something going on in this world, in this place. So, and again, and there he is with the crutches. Yeah, him, who he is, Tyrese Halliburton, and waiting for his teammates to come to shake their hands. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks to see that happen. But at this time, Pascal Siakam on the wrong side of a star player getting an Achilles tear. Obviously with Toronto 6 years ago already, the Raptors winning the NBA title. And the Raptors winning the NBA title, and obviously Kevin Durant getting an Achilles tear, Klay Thompson with an ACL, so there was that as well. Yeah, things completely unraveled for the Golden State Warriors in that one. I wasn't too sad about it. They'd won already 3 titles, and I didn't like them anyway. But don't like to see guys get injured. T.J. McConnell, extremely emotional, very sad, and yeah, I feel bad for him. He gave it his effort. Mathurin as well, great effort by him. Reggie Miller's kind of been everywhere, and you got to respect him as well. Cool and feel bad. There's McConnell and Halliburton. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Great effort by Mathurin, though. I mean, a big respect to him, no doubt about it. But Game 6 was an absolute blowout in favor of the Pacers, and it gave us hope a little bit. You never know. I mean, the next game might go the wrong way, and it did for the Pacers, but for the wrong reason, unfortunately, with the injury. And the third quarter, I mean, you can't really do much with that. I mean, that was garbage. And, of course, it didn't help, again, that the star player was hurt. It really didn't. But a great effort by the Pacers in Game 6, blowing the Thunder right out of there. Something the Timberwolves certainly, they did it in one game, and that was it. Just one bleeping game was a Game 3, and then everything unraveled right after that. And I can't say Game 7 unraveled. The first half was pretty good, but still in the first quarter, I mean, when you see Halliburton going down and you notice the angle of his ankle kind of going, I don't know, like he's going forward, the ankle's kind of planted back, and you could just imagine the pop, the feeling of a pop, and he knew right away because he probably felt the pop, he probably felt the tendon pop, and that's all she wrote as he was banging his fist on the court as the trainers were coming to help, and it's like it's done, man. I'm screwed. It sucks, terrible. Benedict Mathurin with 24 points, 13 rebounds in game number 7. Nice to see a 7th game, but again, it sucks to see it happen with injuries and such. And I don't know. It's fun to see the road team win Game 7, especially if a fan base fan base is kind of obnoxious. They're kind of annoying. They're overconfident going into it. Like, yeah, you're going to be disappointed if you cheer for the Pacers. Ha, 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 like mocking us and everything. Well, whatever, whatever. We don't have to cheer for you. We don't have to. Like in 2012, it felt like everybody's like, so many fans, so many people out there were like, you have to cheer for the Thunder. And it's like, I do? No. I wanted Miami to win that series, and they did. They won comfortably. So it is what it is. It's not hatred, it's dislike at this stage. The Warriors maybe is a little more of the H word there. Chet Holmgren, big smile. Congratulations, Chet. Got nothing against you. SGA, yeah, you're a frickin' free throw merchant. I don't hate you, but you drive me nuts. Yes, you drive me nuts. Jalen Williams, I don't know, something about him, I can't stand him. I don't know what it is, but it's not hatred. I just want to win, damn it. Just want to win. And unfortunately, that's just, I don't know what's going to happen with the Wolves going forward. Thunder, again, my hope with the Thunder winning this championship is that they won't be as hungry going into next year's season. Odds are, I'm sure they're going to be hungry enough. They want to win their 5, 6, 7, like LeBron James. I'm just making that up. I hope they don't win 5, 6, or 7. I freaking hope not. I hope they don't win anything like that. They better not. We're gonna all get tired of them real quick if they get to even 3. I think. And as a Timberwolves fan, I'm already tired of them. I mean, you got your ring, now go away. Just go away. Was hoping that the LA Dodgers would go away after winning their 2020 World Series, but then last year, of course, they had to win again. As the I don't know, the Yankees basically didn't even show up after Game 1, after they lost Game 1 by in a very late heroic home run by Freddie Freeman, which was annoying because Freddie Freeman was one of the Braves franchise players, and he left for the bleeping Dodgers in free agency. Totally figures, but then it turned out okay. But I guess he's from that area. He's close. He grew up close to LA, so fine, whatever. But it's still the Dodgers and whatever. Sorry, LA Dodgers fans. I'm not a fan of your team either. So yeah, I know it's all about me, right? No, it's not. The Thunder got it done, and we're happy for them. It was their year. 68 wins, 14 losses. It was their year. It's the best win-loss record since the Golden State Warriors, who won 73 games and then blew a 3-1 lead, much to all of our delight. That year, I was cheering for the Thunder, not to beat the Cavs or anything, if they got to the finals, which they should have, but they didn't. But I wanted them to beat that Warriors team. They were up 3-1 and they blew that. But then the Warriors returned the favor to the Cavaliers, blowing a 3-1 lead to them. That was a lot of fun. This one is just, two really, really good teams. Indiana, really tough. Great season. So much respect and all that. It was honestly, win-loss wise, it wasn't their best season in franchise history, but combined with making the postseason and the postseason run, this was their best season this was their best season in franchise history outside of their ABA years, depending on how much credit you give an ABA title. Well, if all, if those teams made it to or went to the NBA, it must mean something if they became NBA franchises. So it's not like they were this, double A, triple A team, like, trying to turn it into a Major League Baseball or anything. But I suppose it was about 50 years ago that they joined the NBA. So it's unfortunate to see Indiana come up short, and they came up, man, they came up just short, and now you lose your star player to an Achilles. Wishing a speedy recovery to Tyrese Halliburton in this series. Definitely wishing him the best with that. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder, reluctantly. But it kind of is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Take it away from them? It was their year. Hopefully next year it's the Timberwolves' year. We're going to talk about how and hopefully somehow, some way, this franchise might be up there winning 60-plus games next year, and that they'll be on this podium. They'll be on this stage receiving the Larry O'Brien Trophy and the Bill Russell Trophy, going to probably Anthony Edwards if the Wolves win a title. Hopefully that day comes. But, well, it's going to be a long wait. We get to wait at least until a calendar year if that were to happen. Hopefully it does. I've repeated myself enough, and we will talk to you in segment 2 as it's time to go back to the future. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2. Let's look at the future, shall we? So, of course, we're going to talk about the draft, free agency, all of that, and what we could be looking at for the future of the Timberwolves here, at least going into 25-26, where hopefully this time the Timberwolves do get over the hump and not get to the NBA Finals, but win the NBA Finals. Getting there is great, but I think if you get there, you got to win, doggone it, because, like I've said a million times, I'm sure, before, you don't know when you're going back. So if you get to the finals, please win. Please win. You don't want to be like, I don't know, so many teams that have gotten to the finals and, they never went back. They never won, that type of thing. Like you could say the Jimmy Butler Miami Heat. Obviously, that team never won. Back in the day, the Heat won with, LeBron and Wade and then Wade and Shaq and all that. But that was a different era. Just saying, particular teams. We don't want to be the team that's always there in the mix, but never wins it, like the Dallas Mavericks in the 1980s. Who talks about the 80s Mavericks? Yeah, okay, you liked them, but they never won it. You always hear about the 80s Celtics, the 80s Lakers, later on the Detroit Pistons, and early on maybe the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers, faux 5-0, where they swept the first round, went to only 5 games in the second, and swept the finals. So back then there was only 3 rounds back in '83. That's the last time the Sixers have won a title, but that's the kind of team that could kick everybody's butt and all of that. So we're going to talk about Kevin Durant, I'm sure. That's definitely a guy that we have no choice but to get into because of, he's definitely in the mix. That's kind of what we can open things up with here. Kevin Durant, a possibility coming to the Minnesota Timberwolves via trade, obviously with the Phoenix Suns, and the possibility of a 2-year extension that could make Michael Bloomberg blush. I mean, it's like, really? Are you kidding me? Like, how much again? Yeah, like 110 for 2 years. 102. Wait, what's that? 110 for 2 years? I don't know about that. So, yep, it's time to pull out that NBA trade machine. Doggone it, yes it is. Owned by ESPN, and of course, yes, we'll talk about that. Former assistant GM of the Timberwolves, was he vice president of operations with the Timberwolves in the past? Obviously, created it originally. So, yeah. Kevin Durant ended the season with issues with his ankle. Still averaged, and yes, we talk about the advanced age of Kevin Durant, the Washington, D.C. native who went to Texas, went number 2 overall in the 2007 draft because Greg Oden was thought of as being the next big thing in the NBA, and Durant was like an easy second choice. It was 2 super-duper stars at the top of that draft, and one of them had injury issues and was never the same, was pretty much hurt right away and was never the same. And you never talk about Greg Oden anymore. The other one's still a 26.6 per game average, plays power forward, small forward, only gets 6 rebounds a game, but again, because he's more of a scoring skill guy than this big, powerful power forward, obviously very skinny, 6'11", 240 throughout his career. He was the number 2 pick by the Oklahoma City Thunder, actually the Seattle Supersonics. Let's not forget, Kevin Durant played for the Seattle Supersonics. I don't know why it's saying Thunder there. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool deal there. He was a member of the Seattle Supersonics at the beginning, and of course, we all know that the Thunder moved to, the Supersonics moved to Oklahoma. Why did it say Oklahoma? He played for the Supersonics. You baskets. Okay, anyhow, well, pretty good rookie year, 20 points a game, 25 points a game in 2008 and 2009. They made things very interesting. Started to look like a threat. 2010, they were a huge threat. Lost in the first round to the Lakers, but by like basically a tip-in pretty much by Paul Gasol. That's pretty much about where the Thunder lost that series. I mean, they came damn close. Lakers almost got knocked out real early. And then we all know how the Thunder kept getting better and better and better. Fans were, and we'll talk about, obviously, so we talk about that in segment 1.5, which you already heard with the way this show is structured. Yeah, well, whatever. A guy, obviously, that's unfortunately by a certain point in his career, he started missing time, like ridiculously. Even in 2011, but wasn't that that was a lockout-shortened season. And 2012, he played 81 games. 23-14, he played 81 games. 14-15, only 27. 72 in 15-16. 62 in 16-17. 68 in 17-18. I know you might think that's, well, come on, man. And then, of course, with the Golden State Warriors losing in the NBA Finals, he started having issues with his calf in that postseason. So he was unavailable for a few games. Came in during the NBA Finals. All of a sudden, you saw his calf like move, like poop, like what's that all about? Achilles. So Brooklyn literally gave him money for the first year just to, just for the sake of we have you on reserve. You're ours. It's like buying your seat and paying a huge price to buy your seat to go to like this beautiful seat in the for this team that you love so much, because they're just worth thousands and thousands of dollars just to watch them play just to watch them play throughout the season, have season tickets. It's kind of like reserving your seats and paying a huge price. That's pretty much what Brooklyn did. He only played 35 games because he came back mid-season in 2021, and also that was the weird year as well. So it's interesting timing. 22, he took the Brooklyn Nets to the brink of possibly going all the way, but just his foot was on the line. Remember that? Heartbreaking for him, I'm sure. and the Brooklyn Nets were knocked out during the course of that series. I believe that was against the Hawks, if I remember correctly, or was it even the Sixers? I think it was the Hawks. Just had his foot barely on the line. Brooklyn would have won and possibly gone to the NBA Finals that year. Very possible. Very, very possible that they would have. But who knows? Oh, yeah, that was against the Bucks. Yeah, it was against the Bucks. That was the series that was like the winner of this series is going to the finals. That's who it was. It was the Bucks. Apologize. That's why I was thinking the Bucks, where the Nets would have probably gone to the NBA Finals and maybe even won. Against his future team, the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant traded to the Suns during the course of 22-23. So Durant's been traded a couple times, and that was the big one, and he's been on the Suns ever since, but still managing that. Obviously his years in Brooklyn when he came back healthy, one of the great stories in terms of Achilles tendon, when you get into your 30s and such, it's kind of scary a little bit. And you're thinking, geez, I mean, is he going to be the same? Like Patrick Ewing was getting older. He was older than Durant was when the Achilles happened, but still, it's kind of a little bit on the scary side. Like, what's going to happen here with this guy? Is he going to come back and be the same? Patrick Ewing wasn't even close. Dominique was pretty good for a couple of years and then started slowing down. Kobe Bryant wasn't the same. After the Achilles tear. He just wasn't. Vince Germano, I'm sure, would admit that. And other Laker fans that might be listening. He wasn't. And, of course, he was getting an advanced age, unfortunately. Cover up your ankles, fellas, is what Nick Van Exel said. Yeah, it's been happening too often, with those higher tops instead of low tops. Because I'm seeing some low tops right now as I'm watching replays of the Stanley Cup Final. Just kidding, the NBA Final. So, finals in the NBA. So, yeah, Pacers and OKC Thunder. Of course, Kevin Durant's former club, which he came pretty close. Anyhow, as for Kevin Durant and the 16-17 season, obviously the way he left OKC is what turned me off, and it's like, of course, that figures. You end up losing to the stupid Warriors in the conference final, and you end up going. Thankfully, the Warriors ended up choking against Cleveland as the Thunder ended up blowing a 3-1 lead, but then the Warriors ended up doing the same thing the next round, which felt so good. That felt good. But to be fair, as much as I can't, as I always talk about how I despise the Golden State Warriors so much, I will admit the 17 Warriors were one of the most unbeatable teams of all time. Yeah, and I hate saying it. I hate it. But God, that's how good Kevin Durant was. Kevin Durant was the best player on that team, and he made them just about unbeatable. I do still stand with this. Obviously, the 16 team would have lost to the 96 Bulls. There's no question in my mind. 96 Bulls would have beaten the 16 Warriors. With that said, the 96 team would have also beaten the 17 Warriors, but it would have been one hell of a fight. It would have been one of those legendary series that we talk about for the rest of time. It would be unbelievable. It'd be like Lakers Celtics type of thing. How those two teams were so good throughout the 1980s. It would have been kind of like that. Like whoever lost, it would have been like, man, that's a shame. Of course, Warriors losing to me wouldn't have been a shame, but to other people that might like just look at history, that type of thing. I do love history. Certain teams I can't cheer for you. Sorry. But the 17 team was that good. It just was. That was the best Warriors team, and Durant was the reason. As far as I'm concerned, as great as Curry and all them are, Durant was that piece that was even better. And yeah, obviously he was the best player on that team. He just was. I mean, that's just being honest. So the ability's still there. Obviously, last year playing 62 games, and again, he does miss time. Like last year, he missed 20 games. The year before, he missed not too bad. 82, 75, that type of thing. Out of 82, he played 75 out of 82. I mean, I've seen worse. That's 7 games missed. Some people are afraid that Durant is getting to a point that he could miss. Yeah, because throughout his career, he only played 62 games in 17 even. Like, that's the thing. That was the unbeatable team. That was a 20-game loss right there. 10-game loss to the OKC the year before, and so on and so forth. 14-15, I mean, only 27 games. And then they had that great series with Golden State that they ended up blowing, them being the OKC Thunder of that year. 21-22. Was that a shortened season? Mostly, see what happened. 1920 was the year that was really shortened, but 2021 was shortened. Yes, because it started late. The season started it started on Christmas Day, didn't it? So that's pretty wild. And fans thinking or hoping that could be a future idea. Shut up. Are you kidding me? You don't think I want to see basketball? Like when it gets to be like about Halloween, almost the week of Halloween, my blood is thinking it's basketball season, baby. Let's go. Like, no, sorry, you get to wait till Christmas. No, bleep that. Bleep that. I'm not. No way am I agreeing with people saying that. Yeah, shorten every season should be shorter. Are you a sports fan or do you hate sports? I understand if maybe it's the season's too long and players get hurt and stuff. But it's been, I don't know, like, do you want to watch sports or not? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? That's kind of weird in my mind. When you like start hockey on like December 14th and then just only watch football once a week, or, well, obviously it's more than one game, but if it's, you just prefer watching your team instead of like every game there is, basically, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, whatever. There I go going down a rabbit hole. We're talking about Kevin Durant. I apologize. Obviously, it's been one hell of a career. How many points does he have? It's a pretty big number. Where's the stupid line? Okay, there, 30,000 points. Yep, he did eclipse the 30,000 point mark this past season. Pretty historical player. Anthony Edwards has multiple times talked about Kevin Durant being his all-time favorite player growing up. So that's pretty cool. There's a mutual respect. They had a fun exchange during that series where the Wolves swept the Suns, winning our first playoff series in 20 bleeping years. Bring your ass. 20 years. Yep, bring your ass. Not been to Minnesota in 20... Yeah, okay, I know, it's funny. Sorry, it's not, is it? It's been a hell of a career, though, for Kevin Durant. Almost 20 years already. What is it, 18? So you'd be bringing in a guy who's older but still ever capable. So I can understand Dan Barreiro's take of like, yeah, no, this is not like bringing in... But even Brett Favre, yeah, at age 40, yeah. So you could kind of compare that in a way. Brett Favre was still amazing at age 40. 39 into 40. He was. 2 years before, he took the Packers to the NFC Championship game and threw a crucial interception super late. Otherwise, the Packers might have won the Super Bowl. It would have been a heck of a game versus the Patriots. Wow. That was what a lot of people thought was going to happen. Favre and Brady in the Super Bowl. Wow. Ended up being Eli Manning, and of course the underdog of them all ended up winning. Yeah, crazy stuff. Another rabbit hole. Kevin Durant was a rookie that year. Yeah, he was. 2007, Kevin Durant was a rookie for the Seattle Supersonics. Yep. Anyhow, yeah, I would kind of equate it similar to the Favre thing, where, he's won a championship. Kevin Durant, he's won 2. Now, obviously, again, kind of that if you can't beat him, join him bullcrap, but he was still the best player on the team when it came to Kevin Durant. Favre won 1 Super Bowl and lost 1 Super Bowl and had some disappointing finishes in some huge games, including the New Orleans Saints game for us, but put us in a position where we almost won a Super Bowl. Almost. I mean, that Viking team would have probably beat the Colts. Kevin Durant could be that guy that can bring us there. Obviously, the defense would take a hit along the way. So that's one major conversation, and you don't know when Kevin Durant will hit the wall, because the next year, Brett Favre hit the wall. 2010, and he had no desire to come back anyway. That was the whole frickin' problem. Durant will want to probably play till he's 40, I'm sure. I think he has that mentality, and, well, Favre did play till he was 40. It's that 41, that big magic number called 41, that Favre wanted really no part of until they convinced him to come back. You can make like $20 million, dang it. In 2010, $20 million was still insanely high. And he went from a prime rib to an old cheeseburger at Burger King, basically, that had been sitting in the heater too long, or the heater that keeps them warm, whatever, before they go out to the customer. It'd been sitting there for a little too long. That's pretty much what Favre went from a juicy prime rib. God, I love that. It's the tastiest thing on the planet. To a old dried out cheeseburger at BK. No disrespect to BK at all. Their food can be pretty good, but any sandwich has been sitting around a little too long and it's got crusty, icky. Ugh. That's kind of what Favre was in 2010 in comparison to what he was in 2009. So the hope is that Kevin Durant will not be the same. Sorry for being long-winded. Okay, let's being even more long-winded now because we're going to put this trade together. Kevin Durant makes $51 million a year. That's all. Just $51 million. Come on. You can't afford that? No. Anyhow, Rudy Gobert would be part of it, but this contract is incorrect, though. But is it the current year? I guess it technically is still the so if they do the trade now, so that's the talk that this actually could make the trade easier for us because Rudy Gobert's salary is higher for now, and then it goes down next year. That actually is kind of smart. I kind of like that because Rudy's making 43 now, and then you look at next year, what's he making? 35, isn't he? So, damn it, I didn't have it up. Stupid. I had everything up but that. It'll come up here in a second. I apologize. But with my knowledge, Rudy Gobert's making 35 next year. So that's an extra 8 that you could tack. Yeah, 35, exactly. 25, 26. Thank you, Hoops Hype, by the way. Shout out, for the source here. Sport Track for the free agency talk we're about to get into. Tankathon for the mock draft we're going to get into. ESPN Trade Machine right there. Trade Machine's where we're at. So that's probably why they're talking about, was it Shams Charania saying that a Kevin Durant trade is imminent within the next few days. One of 3 teams, meaning the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Miami Heat, why? Okay, Miami Heat, I guess, and the Houston Rockets. Watch out if he goes to Houston. Dangerous, very dangerous if that happens. Very, very. What would the Wolves do? Talk is Rudy Gobert, possibly involving even like a Laker team or something. Right now, the salaries are not that far apart. Kevin Durant, 51, Rudy Gobert, almost 44. So that's not even much of a difference. But then he maybe include I've heard something like Donde DiVincenzo possibly being included in this one, or a Robbie D. But no, you don't want to put Rob Dillingham in that one. You want to make it if that's a trade for like one of the point guards out there, like Lonzo Ball, the other possibility would be Darius Garland. That's another thing. Obviously, guys with the thing through is they're not available. Their contracts are dead at the moment, but the fiscal season is not over yet. The fiscal year for Alexander Walker, Nikhil, of course, and Joe Ingles might. So guys like that. I believe Minot was included in this one. Brings the salaries a little closer. I know Julius Randle is somebody they like, but I don't know. That's a lot of money going out. That's like $80 million. So, what do we get? Devin Booker back? No, I'm kidding. I think talk was like Royce O'Neal, and that's, again, a possibility. Suns have a bunch of free agents. One of them could even be coming to Minnesota. Tyus Jones, if that might be an option we'll be talking about. He only made about $2.1 million last year. In fact, slightly less than that, if you can believe it. He is an unrestricted free agent. So not available via trade. Let's just throw Royce O'Neal coming back to Minnesota with KD. Otherwise, I think the salaries are pretty close. Let's see. I can't tell. Oh, I don't know. Well, let's just try it. Failed. Joey, you suck. Yep, I suck. I really, really suck. Adjust trade. Yes. Adjust the trade, please. It doesn't match. Oh, of course it doesn't. What are you, stupid? Joey, you are very stupid. You cannot put both players in this trade. It does not make any sense. It doesn't work. So that's about $60 million coming to Minnesota, and that's what's wrong with me. Am I an idiot? Yeah, I think so. God, that's dumb. What was I thinking? Yeah, Julius Randle, 33-ish. Rudy Gobert is on his way outside. I don't know. Maybe it won't be Rudy. It's going to be Julius. Yeah, Rudy could be out with a different trade. So it's going to say the Juice and the Josh. That's not going to be enough. That's not enough. That's only 35. I know, I don't want to bore you with going on and on. But how would the Wolves acquire this guy? Oh, yeah, I think it's Dante. That's what it was. So it's Rudy, it'd basically be like a reverse, what's his name? A reverse Karl Anthony Towns trade. What the flip? What are you doing? So this would be a reverse Dante. Reverse, so we're going to remove Royce O'Neal. Try the trade. Why? Still not enough money going back to the Suns, is it? God, I hate the second apron, you freaking Nazis. I hate the second apron so much. Okay, let's add Josh Minot. Still failed. Nope. Yeah, because his contract's too small. So it's, trades are not easy. They're really not. Not Jade McDaniels. It's just not going to happen. Bones Highland, $4 million. Are they kidding me? That's the problem. Yeah. I forget what was even brought up in this deal. Yeah, because, Durant's salary is just too high. Maybe it is, let's go with, Rudy. And would they really do that, though? Like Rudy Gobert and Donde DiVincenzo? I mean, it's like, even that one failed. What the flip? or that's too much coming back, too much going to Phoenix now because of this stupid apron. That's the problem. You have to be really close in salaries to make this move. Maybe it was Rob Dillingham. Well, hopefully you got another plan then. And that went bad. Okay, that's not going to work. No, none of these are working. It doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. So I'm not sure how they're going to make this trade. I'm sure there were plenty other ideas, but no matter what I'm trying, it's failing. Maybe I'm just a complete fool at the end of the day. Let me tell you, this second apron makes things insanely complicated. So this is probably not even set up correctly. I'm guessing the trade machine isn't even set up correctly because Rudy Gobert's salary next year is going to be different. I think things would be a lot simpler because it's like $10 million off the book. So I apologize. The talk has been kind of like Julius Randle and like basically like a reverse, basically Randle and possibly like a reverse Randle and DiVincenzo, or Rudy and DiVincenzo could be part of the deal. That type of thing, possibly involving Josh Minot as a trade sweetener. So my apologies, but that's kind of a conversation for Kevin Durant. This second apron, both teams are over, and it's extremely annoying, and it makes things insanely difficult. It's like no matter what you try, it's going to say, no, you're out. You have to cut this from this team, or you have to cut that from that team. And it's like, I don't know. And you don't have the right players to match it. And I do believe next year things will be a little bit, tiny bit more flexible, because they'll be talking about the season switching over into the next year's contract, because it doesn't make sense that you'd be trading a guy with $43 million on the salary this year when the season's already over, and he's going to be paid $35 the next year. So I apologize for dragging that out as long as I did. The other trade possibility includes, again, guys like, and I don't know, I don't even want to mess with this at this point. Just to make things so frustrating and annoying. But the other possibility, of course, was, there we go. Yep, Darius Garland, he's making 36. You could pretty much do Julius Randle for Garland almost straight up. That kind of thing. But you'd probably throw in Rob Dillingham because probably, well, what would be the point of that at that stage, unless you want to see him as some kind of a exciting backup, I guess. Dean Wade, I think that was a name even brought up. So Dean Wade, I do believe that would make the salaries almost exact. Almost. Nope, the Wolves would be taking on more, and they're probably going to say no. Of course they are. What the heck? Okay. The amount is just absolutely ridiculous. Ooh, it's complicated. So, yeah, this second apron thing is ridiculous. But it would be something along the likes of Randall, Dillingham, or even Gobert. And you probably need extra teams involved to make things even more complicated. Rudy Gobert has been rumored to go into the Los Angeles Lakers. So it could be something huge, like 3-4 teams moving around, whether it's Garland or Kevin Durant coming to Minnesota. But it's going to be extremely interesting to see where these teams head with these moves. Again, apologize for dragging that out as long as I did. It's interesting, but it's annoying at the same time. Holy mother, it's annoying. It is. Free agency. Let's talk about money again. LeBron James, no, obviously he's got a player option for $52 million. He's staying in Los Angeles. Club option for Houston, $44 million. Jeez, almost $45 million for Fred VanVleet. It's a lot of money, but we'll see what happens to that. $45 million for Fred VanVleet. Kyrie Irving is 99.99999% going to keep the player option. Of course, unfortunately, he is recovering from an ACL, so that totally sucks. $43 million. I don't think he's going to turn that down. I don't think so. Harden for 36, so on and so forth. Middleton 34 with the Washington, whoever they are. Yeah, they suck. Julius Randle. Yep. $34 million going into next season. No, 30.9. Excuse me, going into next season. Julius Randle. Odds are he's probably going to opt in. Probably, but we'll see. That's been the talk, that he's going to opt in, but we'll see if there's an extension possibility coming in the not-too-distant future with us or with team number whoever. Clint Capella is a guy I like very much, especially if the Wolves are going to move on from Mr. Rudy Gobert, which I actually kind of hope they will. Clint Capella is not that young. He's 31, so there's that. But I don't think he'd cost $35 million or up. And that was the reason why the Wolves did re-sign Rudy Gobert to that extension. He could be a tradable asset, believe it or not, even though, because the salary's a little bit more reasonable, and he could kind of help, again, match salaries, which is what you have to do to make trades in the NBA. It's not like, many, many years ago where players got traded every 5 minutes. It seemed like back in the mid-'90s. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. Now it's a lot harder. Now you hear about the 19 trades that didn't happen every year. And man, to go, like for every single trade that does happen, there's about 19 that don't. So it's kind of a bugger there. Bugga, excuse me, you have to have the Aussie accent to use the slang. It's a bugga type of deal. Mr. Capella, Clint Capella anyway, made just under $23 million last season. Unrestricted free agent with bird rights, so you could kind of go wherever with that one. Can you get him to a mid-level exception like 12 million or 15 or something along those lines? Possibly. Otherwise, possibly keeping guys along. There's an opt-out option for Mr. Duncan Robinson, almost 20 million. Duncan Robinson, that's a lot. Bird rights, 18 million a year for Mr. D'Angelo Russell. 16 million a year with UFA bird rights Chris Levert. I kind of like him a little bit. Naz Reid player option of $15 million. 99.9% chance he opts out, and he will be looking for a significant pay raise. Now, Naz Reid making 30, I'm not interested. I like Naz Reid a lot. I love Naz Reid. Not for $30 million, though. I think that's a little too much. I think it's too high. Does that make me a bad guy? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I want to give Naz Reid 30 million. How about 22 or something? 22, 23, 24. How about a Jaden McDaniels deal, which is about that. And then it grows like we talked about in the last episode. So there's that as well when you talk about Mr. Naz Reid. But it's going to be trades and free agency, believe it or not. Free agency will be like one guy pretty much, except for maybe some tiny signings. If you sign people to like veteran minimum type of deals to help fill up the roster, depending on who you trade away. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is probably not coming back, but I guess you never know. But I'm thinking probably not. It's going to be a very significant pay increase, probably about what Nas made last year, or would possibly want to opt into. Last year, Nas made 13.9, which was a nice pay raise to what he was making before. He was closer to Luka Garza, about 2.1 before that. So it was a nice pay raise, but now, well, he's had a couple of really nice years. Could be a starter, and he believes he's a starter. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. We'll see how far apart the two sides are when the conversation could begin. And we'll see how that takes place. What's the other possibility? And it could be that sign and trade type of thing that you might do with Naz Reid, where it's maybe part of a Kevin Durant trade or something. I don't know. Who knows? Or some other trade that we never thought would ever exist. Like, we never thought the Wolves were going to trade up to the 8th pick to get Rob Dillingham. This is a conversation brought up on Flagrant Howls, of course, how you hear rumors about this and that for a long time, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's something completely different. There were cat rumors, but you never heard about the Knicks, and you never heard about Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle coming back to Minnesota, but then it happened. It just simply did. You heard about Rudy Gobert, and then it's like, I don't know, probably not. I don't know. It's probably not a realistic type of a trade, but it's interesting. We'll see what happens. Boom, July 3rd, 2022, or 2022. It was like, okay, right when I'm in the middle of recording State of the Wild 2022. I forget why I was recording it so late, but I think the draft was like closer to my birthday that year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the draft was my birthday. I think it was. Or was that? No, 21 it was on my birthday, but it was still a little bit later until finally 23, I believe things got back to that third, fourth week of June, which is so exciting. I call it Christmas 2.0 because it's literally like right on the opposite side of the year. So it's like a second Christmas draft night for both hockey and basketball, kind of back and forth. It's so much fun. It's freaking awesome. What are we looking at here? Obviously guys like Leonard Miller. I think, I'd like him to get a chance as we move into the season. Josh Minot, like I talked about, I think I talked about this in the first segment, didn't I? Where, I did. But I meant continue. I was jumping ahead a little bit. To me, Josh Minot still looks like he's 19, even though he's not 19. He plays like he's 19. His body looks like he's 19, and that's where I'm disappointed in him and think, okay, he's a rotation player, and it's like, no, he's really not. He looks and plays like he's 19. What's going on? Jalen Clark looks and plays more like he's a man, like an adult. Leonard Miller, kind of that raw, skinny talent as well. I think there might be. I think I'm a little more intrigued by Mr. I keep calling everybody Mr., but I've been doing this for about 15 years now. Literally 15 years, not just exaggerating. I've been doing this podcast for longer than that even, haven't I? It's about that. Yeah, this is an old Timberwolves show, baby. Pretty much the oldest there is. Leonard Miller, Yeah, I'm more intrigued by Leonard Miller than Josh Minot, but at the same time, he's also extremely thin. But I am slightly more intrigued, though, so there's that conversation. Terrence Shannon Jr., I mean, if he's a sweetener in a deal, you hope it's somebody pretty damn good, and you're not just losing Terrence Shannon Jr., because I think he's someone I'd like to keep around, if possible. I'd like to keep TSJ, that makes more sense. TSJ. Yeah, I'd like to keep him, unless, again, it's a really, really good trade. Unless it's a really good trade for, a huge name that can help put the Timberwolves over the hump. And we're not going to wind up like the 96 Seattle Supersonics. What happened to the 96 Seattle Supersonics? Nothing. Yeah, they never won. They won in 79, yeah, with a completely different generation of players. I mean, that's a long time ago, man. I was born that year. Yeah, that's a long. I'm almost 46 years old. So it's teams like that. The New York Knicks in 94, excellent team. Nothing. I don't want to be that team, damn it. I just don't. I don't want to be the 90s Knicks, the 80s Mavericks. You don't. I remember the 90s Knicks pretty well, but the 80s Mavericks, fun, talented, good team, really good team. But they couldn't get past the damn Lakers, and God, they hated the Lakers so much, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them because there's teams like, why do you think I don't like the Warriors? You just saw them as this wall that needed to be busted down. The Spurs, a wall that needed to be busted down. The Bulls for everybody in the 90s basically needed to be busted down. You like Utah, no championships because of Michael Jordan and other teams along the way, but that might have been in the Western Conference block in the way. Like the Rockets and stuff along the way, the Sonics, Rockets. Eventually the Jazz got to the finals and still lost. Eventually the Knicks got to the finals and still lost. Oh, you feel so bad for them. It's like, yes, Jordan retired and now the Knicks can win, just for their sake, I mean, I can imagine how excited they were. And they still lost because Houston was so good that year. I don't want to be that team, damn it. I want to be the team that says, yes, we got it done. Like at least like the 23 Nuggets, even if it's just one bleeping title with that group. At least they have something to hold to hang their hat on. So doggone it. So hopefully hopefully Tim Conley's plan here, whatever it is, comes to fruition, and this team gets over the hump. I've stated a million times, Mike Conley being any type of a number one depth chart point guard is over. Stop it. It needs to stop. Stop it. Seriously, it's insulting us, man. It's insulting Mike Conley, frankly, to his legacy as a pretty good player for many years. In fact, an awesome point guard for several years, for about 10 plus year period, 12 year period. Yeah, watching him kind of just not even be close to what he once was. It's kind of depressing. Rob Dillingham, can he take the next step, or are we going to make a bigger move, or go for kind of like somebody who's a nice fit for a while in Tyus Jones? So we'll see what kind of plan this could be. Tyus Jones, again, could be, I don't know, who knows, 9, 10 million. I mean, he really took a massive discount to play with that Phoenix team, and boy, they didn't even make the playoffs, did they? No, they didn't, did they? I'm not trying to be a sarcastic jerk about it. They just didn't, though, at the end of the day. So free agency will look some more, but generally speaking, it's more of like keeping our own free agents at this point. Guys like Joe Ingles, I mean, did he really make $11 million last year? That's not true. Didn't he make it was way less than that. I think it was like $2 million or something. Why is it saying $11 million? Was it like a contract before? Yeah, he made $2 million basically last year. 11 million. Come on, what year was that? Some of these, come on, Sport Track, what's going on? But yep, talk about again guys like possibly trading a Kobe White. Yep, that's been brought up, and yes, and Vince brought him up as well. You're more than welcome to make an audio call, especially as we head into the free agency, the draft review and free agency update episode, which comes in July every year. God, that show's fun to do. It is. Yeah, it's so much. I love. That's one of my favorite shows of the year. In fact, it might even be, unless the Wolves win an NBA title. All kinds of names. Doug McDermott, sharpshooter, not expensive. Maybe he might be one of those guys. It's kind of like a Joe Ingles, but he'll play a bigger role. Kyle Lowry's almost my age. He's almost 40. Dang, it's crazy. I can't believe he's that old. I used to love him so much. Tyus Jones, 29, only made like $3 million last year. Pretty cool. That's a possibility. DeAndre Jordan, he's only 37. Wow. I thought DeAndre Jordan was like 44. I'm not even kidding. I thought it's like you'd think he retired like 4 years ago, but he didn't. Seth Curry, not Steph Curry. I like Seth. He'll be about 35 when the season starts. Inexpensive. Could be a nice spark plug point guard to look at. Dinwiddie as well, about 30. Be a 32 and a half-ish around there. Not million. Looking more like a reasonable contract. These are possible point guard options the Wolves could be looking at. That's kind of the number one thing, other than making some huge move for Darius Garland, who also, again, is out for 5 months, by the way. But it's June, though. It's June. But about 5 months from now. And, that's what, November-ish, right? Let's see, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, it's not like he's dead. He's alive, okay? He's alive. He's still got a great, very bright future going forward. But those are possibilities. I'm thinking point guard. And if you see Rob Dillingham with a very positive future for the Wolves, that's where Seth Curry is just a name I'm throwing on the wall. But he's okay. He's more of an offensive shooter type of guy than a leader of an offense. Kyle Lowry's like a leader of an offense, but he's ancient. He's older than Mike Conley. So they were together on they were teammates with the Memphis Grizzlies, and with Mike Conley being the big boy there, being, what was he, like the 4th overall pick, who could have gone like first there. He was that good. But it was Kevin Durant and stuff. Hello, it was the same draft, by the way. Yeah, Kevin Durant, Greg Oden, all those guys. I'm trying to remember who went third that year. But, Conley. Or was it Conley? It was, I think Conley went 4th, though, if I remember correctly. They were teammates, and I loved Kyle Lowry, and I wanted the Wolves to get Kyle Lowry because I figured he'd be much more attainable than Mike Conley. But that day never came. Doggone it. That'd be about right. The Wolves get him. Yep, Nikhil, of course, again, a free agent. Yeah, we know. Malik Beasley, I don't know. I just don't. I don't really care. Jeff Green is almost 40. He's been with like about 9 teams, and I'm not even kidding. Trey Jones, interesting player. God, Gary Payton II's already going to be 33. Apologize for the loud coughing, by the way. That's annoying. It's probably irritating the heck out of you, and it's irritating me, so just being honest with you. Where's the point guards, schmucks? Come on. It's annoying. Okay, we're going to go back down and, see the list of point guards. Now it's just point guards. Dennis Schroeder, I'm not a huge fan. Van Vliet's too expensive. Irving, whatever. Love him, but not going to happen. Chris Paul, no, same thing. He's in his 40s now already. Westbrook, yeah, okay, no. So, geez, a lot of these more expensive guys are like old, whatever kind of guys. It looks like free agency is Tyus Jones, almost certainly a Tyus Jones type of move if he wants to come, or like a Seth or something. And Ben Simmons, we're gonna hear about Ben Simmons as well in the fan interaction with from one of the pillars of Timberwolves explosion. So, and I'm saying that with full sincerity, no sarcasm at all in that one. Ty Washington Jr. No, I'm kidding. That's talk about raw. I don't know, but I'm just messing around. Yeah, you talk about raw. McClung, let's bring him in so he can win the slam dunk contest. That's about it. Mac McClung. He's McClunging to the rim after another dunk. We're happy for him. Alfred Payton. I kind of like him. I kind of do. And I teased him about his hair a few years ago, saying he looked like a banana, because he kind of did. And that was not meant any disrespect. So like Dinwiddie, guys like that. That's kind of what you're looking at if it's free agency. Like a Dinwiddie, Tyus Jones. That's kind of it, when it comes to... That's kind of what you're looking at. Maybe even Trey, but I don't know about Trey. I don't know. It's possible. Dennis Schroeder's been on about 15 teams, and I'm barely exaggerating when I say that. He's been paid pretty well, too, throughout his career. UFA early bird for... not Trey. Trey is the UFA bird. For Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder. Mr. Ice in the Veins, Dennis Schroeder. With his clutch shot against the Wolves a few years back. Good for him. Monte Morris. No, he did nothing. God, he was awful for us. Awful. Kevin Porter Jr. is a name that's been brought up as well. very inexpensive player option of 2.5. I think he'll opt out if he believes he can get more than that, and he probably does. Most likely, my friends. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. What did I just do? What did I just do? I pushed the wrong button. That's what I did. I can't fix it either. I just love when I do stuff like that. It's just wonderful. Mock draft. Cooper Flagg, the son of a gun's going to the Dallas Mavericks most likely. Dylan Harper. Any relation to Derek? I don't know. Derek is a pretty old guy. He'd almost be his grandson practically at this point. Wolves will be picking 17th. Neek Clifford. Neek Clifford is the guy there. Kind of a, basically like an in-between kind of a forward. Or no, shooting it out, like a swingman. Pardon me. A swingman type of guy. 6'6.5". Okay. 202 pounds. Big board, he's ranked 20th. His stat strengths are defensive rebounding and rebounds. That's good. We could use a little help there. Assists and such. Field goal percentage. His draft age, yeah, like he's much older. He was a senior in college. That's his biggest weakness, I guess. Wingspan ratio and turnovers are also weaknesses, but they're like, it's just 1 minus, where the draft age is 4 minuses. Otherwise, rebounding in general is he's got a huge plus there, 4+ in that case. So that's cool. Are there any comps or comparisons or anything like that? I don't see one. Overall, pardon me for the coughing. I just kind of taken over. He averaged, that's pretty impressive. 19 points. This is for Colorado, the Buffs, I guess, isn't it? Nope, Colorado State. It's not the Buffs. It's the other one. The Rams. Okay, that's what they're called. Yep, the Rams. Colorado State Rams and the Buffs. So 2 very mean animals, basically, that can knock you out. But I think a buffalo is scarier than a ram, even though rams can be pretty scary too. Went to the Vanguard High School. So good for him. Born on Feb 9, 2002. Okay, 3 years older than my nephews and a day as well. They were born on February 10th, and my dad was also February 10th, 1943. Patted him off for that. I'm going on and on here. Steal and 1.2 steals. That's pretty good. Almost 10 rebounds a game. That's really nice. 3-point percentage. Almost 38%. That's pretty cool. It's at the college level. Field goal percentage almost 50%. That's awesome. So, good rebounder for a smaller guy. Kind of that tough rebounding son of a gun type of guy without having to be too big. Just has that natural knack for rebounding, which I think is awesome. That's awesome when you have a guy that can just get the damn rebound. Despite, he's not 6'10". He's not 6'9". He's not, whatever. You get the idea. Enter height. It even has like a limited wingspan at the end of the day, but not much of a shot blocker, but kind of, a little bit. Well, what's he averaging again? Like a half block a game, but he's 6'6". You can't expect too much, but shows up. So he's not majorly athletic, but kind of an intangibles. Get your butt in the way and get those damn rebounds, that kind of thing. Like, box out. That's what he can do. And that's exciting. Max vertical of 35.5. That helps, I'm sure. That's pretty good for the most part. Standing reach of, almost 9 foot. That's kind of nice. Well, 8.5 plus. Nice. So, some athleticism, more like length where he needs it, along with, what the heck am I trying to say? Just intangibles, like smart positioning to get those rebounds. So, that's kind of exciting at the end of the day. He could be, that's a lot of rebounds for a shooting guard size, like shooting guard, small forward. So he could be one of those kind of guys that just kind of, he's an intangibles helping guy with obviously still some quickness as well. Can move around and can hit the 3-point shot. Kind of a 3-and-D maybe at the end of the day in a lot of ways. But, defensive rebounds anyway, at the very least. Getting the ball back, getting the defensive rebound does factor for defense. It actually factors towards it, believe it or not. So, that's an intriguing pick at the end of the day. Obviously, going for a rookie point guard, I mean, you already have that, basically. 8th overall pick is supposed to be a point guard again. And it's a pretty unique name, very Greek-sounding. Kasparas. Jakousiansis. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but maybe. 5.5 assists. Wolves will not be going in that direction, I'm sure. Coming out of Illinois. He was ranked higher and dropped down. Again, Cooper Flagg ranked number 1 and all that good stuff. Other point guards kind of close to where the Wolves might be picking. Igor Demin would be going right after the Wolves. Brigham Young, and he's a Russian. He's a Russian from Moscow Basketball Academy. He'll be going to the Washington Wizards. Draft H, a lot younger than the guy with Timberwolves will be taking, 1 pick ahead. 19, he's just turned 19 years of age. Cannot shoot the 3 very well. That sucks a little bit, but he can just score from the floor basically. So good for him, you know. Yeah, what the hell kind of field goal percentage is that? 41%? Seriously? What kind of bullshit the field goal is that? There's a bullshit. So you can shoot the ball. What the flip Saunders? I don't know. Sorry for swearing there. Oh my goodness. 27% from 3-point range. It's garbage. It's junk. It's junk. 7.1 assists per 36. That's not bad. But the other stuff, I don't know so much, man. 38.8. 3.8 turnovers. What the flip? It's garbage. It's junk. Come on, man. You should be better. A little bit better. Please. Work on it, Igor. Work, Igor, work. Went to Brigham Young University from Moscow, Russia. Best of luck, Igor Demin. We'll maybe see you somewhere. Hopefully not the Wizards, because I don't know about the Wizards. You know, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know about the Wizards. Sorry. Let me know what you think of my Russian accent. Maybe I suck at Australian, but the Russian, maybe I got it a little closer. I don't know. Nolan Traore, which would be like the pick via the Wolves, going to Utah, 19 years of age, 7.4 assists. Awesome. St. Quentin, never heard of that one. International, apparently. Sounds like Canada to me. Sounds like Francais. Nope, it's French. Like French-Canadian? Yeah, nope, it's French. It's flat out France. Geneviève-sur-Marne, France. And it's going to Utah. Well, he gets in a lot of foul trouble. His defense sucks. Yeah, okay. Well, he's young and he gets assists and stuff. Okay. Well, that's why he might be going later in the draft. He's young and he gets assists and stuff. That's basically what it says. I'm not even kidding. But he's really bad about fouling and defensive, his overall defense. And oh, ouch. Well, yeah, we'll take that other guy. We'll take the guy that was going. Nick Clifford sounds like I don't know. I mean, at least he's a guy that can help you get some rebounds, especially if Rudy Gobert is au revoir. You know, au revoir, Rudy. Au revoir, Rudy. Okay, maybe we will be saying that. Au revoir to the Los Angeles Lakers. Los Angeles Lakers. Rudy Gobert will be the next big-time sender for Los Angeles. And Vince Romano will probably say something along the lines of, bloody hell. Maybe. Well, Vince, what do you think, I guess? What do you think if Rudy Gobert is traded your direction? Would you say bloody hell or, oh, not bad, or fair enough? Who knows, right? But, yeah, maybe let me know just in case, just in case you're listening, you know. Yeah. So, it is nice not to have to, like, oh, God, I hope the Wolves get the number 1 pick. Please get the number 1 pick. Oh, at least get the 3rd pick. Oh, God, is David Kahn going to bleep this up? Oh, man. Is Gerson Rosas going to, like, make a weird trade at the last second and screw up what he could have had? Well, no, it would. You just give up more than what you needed to get a guy that wasn't even good, which is what he did in his first draft. But since then, Gerson did a pretty good job and then got himself fired because he was, I don't know, just not a good guy, basically, in multiple ways. So, can you tell I love this show? I love the draft. I love looking at the draft and such. I think I've babbled too much, though, already. I hope you don't mind. With all of that said, we're going to take a quick break and come back for fan interaction and move on. Are you looking for a really nice Timberwolves-related Facebook page out there with cool fans and a wonderful host? Well, look no further than Wolfpack from Flip to Finch, hosted by Scott Doherty. He does a great job. Scott Doherty's an awesome guy, and the fan base on there, obviously passionate about the Wolves, but also respectful of other people's opinions regarding the team. Check out the page. It's awesome. Wolfpack from Flip to Finch. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, third and final segment. We're going to wrap up this granddaddy of them all right here and now. At TWolvesEX. At TWolvesEX is the Twitter account. Facebook is facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. Instagram is Timberwolves_Explosion. Threads, Timberwolves_Explosion. And for YouTube, it's still Palladino Live Productions. Or Palladino Live, basically, is what it is on YouTube. Someday, maybe we'll have our own YouTube channel for Timberwolves Explosion. Purple Mafia already has one. Mysterious Adventures does. But someday we'll possibly have one for our Timberwolves Explosion. But anyhow, let's get to the point here, if humanly possible. Want to thank Tanae, Levi, and Levi and Vince, all for retweeting the most recent episode. Tanae and Levi from New Zealand. Vince Germano out of Australia. Thank you so much for retweeting the most recent episode, saying Timberwolves can be better. That was kind of an extra episode compared to what took place. It was like an extra episode compared to last season, where I just, was inundated with rain. Just didn't have time. It's like, okay, the Wolves are out. It was depressing and frustrating, and screw it, I'll record State of the Timberwolves. But this year I put in the extra time to get that extra episode in. Also, again, I believe I already talked about the firing of Tom Thibodeau, thinking that's a bunch of crap. I forget if I even mentioned it in the previous segments now, because I've been piecing this show together over the course of several days here. But, the Tom Thibodeau firing, thinking that was pretty ridiculous. Tanae liked my little response there. The Knicks still do not have a coach. They did request permission to talk to Chris Finch. The Timberwolves quickly denied that request. So Chris Finch remains as Timberwolves coach, and that's totally fine, to say the least. And why is Death to America trending on X? Death to America? Really? Wow. Okay, thanks. Whoever's tweeting that, you can go somewhere very hot and dark real quick. Seriously, whoever's tweeting that and saying Death to America, yeah. They can go somewhere very dark and very hot right now. Tanae Brown bringing up Ben Simmons as well when we talk about free agency. Ben Simmons intrigues me as a free agent this summer. Am I alone with this take? Ha ha ha. I was saying I wouldn't mind at least taking a flyer on him and see what happens. At the bare minimum, he'd probably be a nice backup. So, yeah, that's kind of a conversation. Looks like no one else said anything, unfortunately. But cool. It's at least something. Sometimes you take a flyer on players and such. Vince says, what was he? He was responding to something. What's going on? Okay. Vince is saying, don't go with Optus on your 5G internet. Once your modem is out of date, they want to switch you to a more expensive plan and won't send you an upgraded modem. Doesn't matter if you're a loyal customer. They just want the extra cash. I was saying, just another scam. So frustrating. Vince says 100% they could easily rectify the problem, but simply won't. Which sounds, unfortunately, like a lot of our workplaces in so many ways, too. Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Vince also says one of the Optus staff told me in some cases they can make an exception. Their modem is outdated. Just send me a new one. It's that simple. Yep, I agree. I was saying, let's go Pacers. I think people can stop saying that the Thunder are just going to crush the Pacers, because they really didn't. And then Halliburton tore his Achilles. Who knows? Who knows what might have happened in this game if Halliburton didn't get hurt. But apparently SGA and Jalen Williams, number 2 all-time in duos in total points in the NBA Finals. It does help going to a Game 7, though. They listed the 96 Bulls, Jordan and Pippen, coming in 3rd place all-time. Now, let's not forget something. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen played 6 games in that series. So you got to put that into perspective. You get an extra game. Number 1 all-time, LeBron and Kyrie Irving beating the Golden State Warriors in 2016, which 9 whole years ago already was one of my favorite, most satisfying moments watching basketball. So far, the most satisfying moment watching basketball, and generally speaking, was, yes, I was a full-on Kevin Garnett fan for a short time. Well, mostly because I already liked the Celtics before he got there. But it's like I was a Garnett fan for like a short time again, saying, yeah, go get him, go win that championship. Plus, he's on the Celtics anyway, which was my second favorite team, and all of that in the NBA. And it's like I was just glowing. I was just glowing for like days after that when the Celtics beat the Lakers. And back then, a lot of us really didn't like the Lakers. Like, I don't feel that negatively of them now as a lot of us did back then. You know, Lakers were kind of the Golden State Warriors type team, but maybe not quite as aggressively disliked as the Warriors are. Anyhow, let's see, what were we talking about here? I was saying, also, I'm officially 100% out on Kevin Durant, and yes, he is now a Houston Rocket. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute as to what the trade was. Yes, I was saying I'm officially 100% out on Kevin Durant. It would be a huge mistake financially, yeah, because we'd be stuck in that third curtain again. And earlier in the show, when I kept trying to make that trade on the trade machine, well, the fact we were stuck in the third curtain, I couldn't do anything. So plus, like, even to trade for Kevin Durant, to make it official, would have had to happen on July 1st, which is the fiscal, it's the new NBA season, basically, at that point, July 1st. So I couldn't even make the trade because the restrictions are so bleeping high, no matter what you do. Like, you could basically be, like, match salaries to the penny. Sorry, still can't make the trade. That's pretty much what it felt like. It was like a disgusting tease or a disgusting prank. Anyhow, Kevin Durant at the time was basically saying he didn't want to come here. He listed the three teams of Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, I believe? No. Now I'm blanking. Was it Dallas? It couldn't have been Dallas. I forgot who the other team was now. I forgot. Oh, geez. Well, it was Houston and San Antonio were definitely at the top of the list. It couldn't have been Dallas. No. Was it? I'm completely blanking. It's like, I guess he wanted to go to Texas, right? No, but I think there was one other team, and I'm completely blanking, and I'm mad at myself right now. Probably dig a little bit here in a second. Oh, boy. Yeah. It definitely wasn't us. So that's the funny part. Oh, stupid girl making noise again. So I apologize here. Oh, Miami Heat. Okay, Miami Heat was the other one. Miami Heat and then the Spurs and, of course, the Houston Rockets. That's who it was. Yes, I apologize. Because it's like I'd heard it like 50 times, and it actually sounded like the Heat were the closest, and then, it's Houston, so Houston time. But they did give up a lot to get him, and he is in his upper 30s. Not his low 30s, not his mid-30s, his upper 30s. Okay, to the point. I'm officially out on 100% out on Kevin Durant. It would be a huge mistake financially, and you know he's gonna hit the physical wall very soon. That's not a championship-making move. So many other teams tried it, and look at them. Nothing. Jenny Brown saying, I trust Tim Conley. I just really don't want old man Durant on the team, though. Well, luckily we're going to be okay in terms of he won't be here anyway. Mr. Durant won't. Vince says, mates, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Don't even have to give up McDaniels. Who cares if he's a one-year rental? Kawhi was, and look how it turned out for the Raptors. And I was saying, interestingly enough, Kawhi is the guy I would probably be targeting. As weird as that might sound. Did Vince respond? He said, either or, mate. KD paired with Edwards gives you a great chance. Best part is you probably need to play KD 30 minutes. Probably only needed to play him 30 minutes. Yeah, that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting for sure. Yep, it really would. Oh, okay, they're tying it all. That's funny. So the Warriors are the most wins in 2015-16 in total wins, like playoffs and all that. Compared to the 96 Bulls, they have one more win. Yeah, well, they still lost. They still lost the finals, though. Ha. Still lost the finals. Still lost the finals. Still lost the final. Okay, sorry. Well, because back in 96, didn't the Bulls only have to... Yeah, it was only a 5-game series in the first round, right? That didn't change until like 2003, I believe. The Wolves and Lakers losing in that series, yeah. Yep, that was back then. Yeah, that was the first time that the first round was a 7-gamer. So that's another reason the Warriors have more statistics, and this team is better than the 96 Bulls. So to me, the 96 Bulls are the best team of all time. I don't care. They're the best team of all time. Just like the Detroit Lions or something win 17 games in a season. Hey, they won more games than anybody else. Yeah, well, it was 16 games at this point and 14 games at that point, so it doesn't mean they're the best team of all time. There's whatever. So that's kind of how I come back on that one. Tanae was saying, I'm mostly worried that Durant will get injured. Then it's just a completely wasted year. I don't know what other moves are on the table at all, though. Maybe there's another lookalike deal out there to be made. I was thinking, yeah, it's a real tough situation. It's like, I want to get to the next level, and it's really hard to say how we're going to get there. I want Darius Garland, but he's another injury guy, but definitely younger. I do want Darius Garland, but apparently he's got, what, like an injury that would have him out until like November-ish. But it's not the end of the year, right? That's the one cool part. What was breaking news? Oh, okay, yeah, when the Lakers, yep, that's another thing. The Buss family was reportedly set to, yep, they're selling it. So majority ownership, I do believe they're hanging on to like an 18% stake, and Jeannie Buss is still going to continue in her same role, like the governor basically of the Lakers. Isn't that crazy? So pretty wild. It was only $10 billion later. Was it somebody named like Walters, I believe? So congratulations to him. He was already a part owner in the team. So $10 billion later, he is now the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Unfortunately, without Chick Hearn. Jerry Buss, though, I mean, it's obviously he's long gone. He's been dead for many years now. But probably the best owner in NBA history, right? Vince, I don't think he's going to disagree with that one. Jerry was a legend. And just the guy just knew what he was doing, too. Like, what was he, like, way back in the 1950s, I believe? Was the late 50s, early 60s, I think? He was doing something that, you know how you sometimes you're a day late and a dollar short? He's quite the opposite. He was buying up shoreland, like shore, ocean shoreline land throughout that time. And that's how he made his bajillions of dollars, where many years later he bought the Los Angeles Lakers in 1979, I believe, right in time for Magic to get there. Wow. I mean, the guy knew what he was doing. He just really did. Timing was spectacular. And, yeah. But buying, was it like oceanfront land? I think that's what it's called, right? Throughout the 50s. And look at him now. Look at that family. And how much money they truly earned over the years. Crazy to think that the Lakers, that sports franchises can now be worth as high as $10 billion. Talk is the Timberwolves are actually already worth at least 3+, even though the whole deal with Glenn Taylor, Laurie, and Alex Rodriguez, or A-Rod, or whatever you want to call him, was $1.5 billion. Interesting, huh? So I was saying devastating third quarter for the Pacers. It's like every bounce of the ball, Yep, so that was really sad. So here is the trade that happened this morning, at least on June 22nd, 2025. The Phoenix Suns are trading two-time NBA Finals MVP, both with the Warriors, of course. Yeah, both of the Warriors, meaning he was the best player on that team when he was there. Yeah, which is, I think it's easy to say. As good as you want to say how good Curry is, Kevin Durant was better. He was. He made them basically unbeatable during that time, as much as I hate saying that. They already rambled about that in segment 2. Phoenix Suns are trading two-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Sprockets, as I used to call him, for Jalen Green, great talent. Dylan Brooks, who used to be with the Memphis Grizzlies and gave us a hell of a time. The number 10 pick in the 2025 NBA Draft and 5 second-round picks. Sources tell ESPN's Adam Scheffler? Or is it Shamnia? It's kind of both of those guys kind of working together, I guess. Scheffler's a football guy, isn't he? Anyhow, but I think, Shams. Yep, ESPN Shams. So Scheffler was kind of passing on the news in that case. Scheffler's a football guy. So it's usually like Aaron Rodgers signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Vikings, whatever, do this and do that. Made some nice moves during the course of time, getting a pretty good offensive line in here along with other players. Check out Purple Mafia if you could sometime. If you want to talk Minnesota Vikings football on YouTube and, of course, podcasting, more established there right now. So, yes, there was another major trade that took place as well. The, what's that guy's name? Bain, it was the Bain trade. Yep, so that was that one for sure. Desmond Bain, yeah, it's a blockbuster deal. The Grizzlies trade him to the Orlando Magic. Kind of an interesting choice there, of all places. The Orlando Magic. So, Memphis Grizzlies traded Desmond Bain, who was the bane of our existence whenever he played the Memphis Grizzlies, by the way, to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's going to like his 17th team. Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-round picks. 4 unprotected first-round picks. Just rolls right off your tongue, doesn't it? And 1 first-round pick swap Sunday. Yep, that was that was last Sunday on the 15th of June. Shams Charania, again, the new Woj bomb. It's the Shams bomb. It's the Shams Sham. No, I don't know what the hell you call it. It's the Shams Shimmy of the news there. With, we'll just call it a Shams bomb, I guess. But 4 unprotected first-round picks. That's pretty much what the Memphis Grizzlies are chanting right now. Memphis Grizzlies fans. Yes, you lose Desmond Bain, but 4 unprotected first-round picks. So, the Magic might be good, but I wouldn't buy a lot of stock in the Orlando Magic, even with Desmond Bain. It's a good player, but it's the Orlando Magic. I don't know. Okay, fine. They'll probably end up picking 15th or 20th, most of those, but you never know. What if guys get hurt? What if this could be another not Chris Paul, what was his name? Paul George trade. Maybe not quite that bad, but trades like this, you gotta watch you gotta watch it. You gotta be careful. You don't want to turn out. You don't want to create another Oklahoma City Thunder here. I mean, there's a reason why they're champions. A lot of people thought that they're going to win a title or 2 or 3 with this stupid Paul George trade. Terrible trade, terrible. And Paul George was pretty good with OKC while he was there, but like clockwork, he gets to the Clippers, he's fine. But I mean, you make a trade like that, you better hope you're going to win 1 championship, 1, if not like 3, or Oklahoma City might win 3. So it's another Herschel Walker right there. Oklahoma City might be the Dallas Cowboys of basketball. The 90s Cowboys. Oh boy, they might be. Yep, they might be. Look at that right there, holding that trophy. The Sons of Guns. Well, it could be the case. We'll see what happens. Orlando sent Memphis the number 16th pick in the 2025 NBA draft. So Memphis, yeah, that was the number 16th pick. Yeah, what the heck. It's 2026 first-round pick, which includes the swap rights with the Suns and Washington Wizards. And it's 28 and 30 first-round selections. The pick swap is top 2 protected in 29. Interesting. Top 2 protected. So you can get the 3rd pick in the draft in 2029. I know it's a few years away, but it's not that far away anymore. It's not like 3rd-round picks where you're trading away like players' grandchildren, basically. Current players, they might be their grandkid, like getting taken with the 2nd-round pick. It was pretty funny. We had fun with that last year. We're going to have fun with that again this year, I'm sure, with some of those draft night trades. They are entertaining to discuss. Okay, and they traded away their 2035 2nd-round pick and 2036 2nd-round pick. Also moved to the Dallas Mavericks. The Washington Wizards moved their 2037 2nd-round pick to the Chicago Bulls. And there's a pick swap in 2038 with the 2nd round. So, okay, but that's kind of what it's like with 2nd rounders. It's a ongoing gag. It really is. It's funny stuff. It's funny. I think it's funny. You could laugh. Come on, at least pretend it's funny. Okay, fine. You don't like anything, you big meanie. Anyhow, congratulations, Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, I'm thrilled about it. I'm not. I would have been happy to see Indiana, but like I may have said in segment 2.5, and I did say this in segment 2.5, because these segments are recorded right on top of each other, basically, because they're, the end of the season here. At least the Thunder aren't going to be coming into next season like, oh, we are absolutely winning this year. There's no bleeping blankety blank. Well, they do have a championship, so there's a hope that Oklahoma City's hunger will be a little bit less next year, and that hopefully the Timberwolves' hunger will be more than ever. By the time it got to round 3, it didn't feel like it did it. It just didn't, like with the Wolves after losing to Dallas last year. It didn't. Now, we were playing a better team than last year, that's for sure. Mavericks got smushed by the Celtics. Thunder won the title against a Pacer team that might have won the championship if not for injuries or whatever, unfortunate bounces of the ball down the stretch. and just poor execution in Game 4. That's another reason. Kind of like the Celtics in 2022. Poor execution, to say the least. That was a very impassioned segment 1.5 back in 2022. With all of that said, that's it. That's a wrap. 2025. Adios, bye-bye. The next time we talk, well, yeah, 24-25 anyway. Adios, bye-bye. It's still 2025. What am I talking about? But 24-25 season, that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. The Timberwolves got to the third round and lost again. Oklahoma City Thunder are world champions. Pacers are, well, Eastern Conference champions. Celtics lose Tatum probably for a year. And the Pacers now lose Tyrese Halliburton for a year. So we'll see what happens. The Eastern Conference is going to be very interesting to see who comes out of it next year. Because I don't think it's the Pacers or the Celtics. It could be the Cleveland Cavaliers or some unexpected, or the Knicks, with who knows, with Mike Malone as coach. I have no idea. Could be the Detroit Pistons. Who knows? But it's going to be definitely a team that we haven't seen in the NBA Finals for a while. At least I think so. With that, well, except for Cleveland, that semi-recently, during the LeBron era when he was back there again. Yeah, they only went 4 years in a row. Ridiculous. With that said, I've babbled enough. Timberwolves again, well, hoping that they can get the building blocks together, and we will talk about it as we enter the 25-26 season, free agency and draft review in the next episode. Can't wait. Until then, take care, God bless, and enjoy your summer.